if you had a single word catchphrase that you got to shout out whenever you were excited or happy or you did something cool, what would it be?
Mathematical.
I'm just going to say you can't take mathematical because that is what Finn says in Adventure Time.
But that's how I feel about
That's
it.
rad.
So just
It's
I've
mathematical.
Gnarly came to mind first for me.
Gnarly's good.
That makes you like a Ninja Turtle.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
Gnarly. I would probably be like, inconceivable.
Oh, you're going
also from something else.
Yeah, from something else. Yeah. But that's
All right, let's talk about Adventure Time. And then the music goes.
I think I would shout spectacle.
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 Wow, you're really like a Jordan Peele character.
That's just because that's what
I
Nope
don't
was
understand.
about. You get it if you got into the the critical analysis of the movie Nope.
Didn't watch it.
Yes,
Still.
today
I'm
our
not-
We
episode
have
is
it on
a- is
DVD.
a
Okay, let's
critical
not
analysis of
not
the
against
movie.
it.
No.
Haven't watched it.
I think my word, I don't know. I'm just gonna go for a like easy grab, which is radical.
Radical's
Radical.
a good one.
Okay.
I like words that can be positive or negative.
I was
I
gonna
feel
say,
like
however,
radical, gnarly. those are
radical
good.
is good in my sense. It's not like radical feminist, which is bad.
Which is
Yeah,
bad.
isn't it weird that you can take like two positive words like radical and like free, but then when you have a free radical, that's bad. That makes
It's no
cancer.
good.
All right.
Speaking of cancer,
speaking of
Don't
cancer,
even
welcome
get me
to the
started
lore
on
you know.
gnarly Radical.
Here on this show, some friends talk about the fantastic media and lore of your favorite stories that you grew up with and love. And today, to give you the mostly correct facts about Adventure Time, it's me, CJ.
and me, Liz.
Me, Eric.
And me, Sammy.
That's right. It's couples night to talk about the
Ooh la
most
la.
romantic series we could think of, Adventure Time, which is kind of true.
And
because-
kind of Fiona and Cake.
Yeah, because there's a lot of dating in this one.
Don't
Whoa.
know
All right.
Yeah.
what any of that means.
Let's go through how much does everyone know? I watched most of it. Adventure Time, that is. Honey, how much Adventure Time do you know?
I've seen a little bit of Adventure Time, but have gotten a lot of info via like osmosis of being on the internet for
Okay.
many years.
Alright.
And then I have also watched the spin-off of Adventure Time, which is called Fiona and Cake.
I think I watched the first episode.
Nice.
And
That's a good
that's
episode.
about all that I
The
have.
first episode or the pilot?
I have no idea.
All right, we'll figure it out.
I've watched zero Adventure Time. I've
Right.
seen still images. I've never seen a clip. I've never listened to a podcast.
That's
don't know
crazy.
anything about it.
He's never listened to
It's
a
crazy that you
podcast.
avoided it. Yeah.
I
Right.
don't.
This is
I
gonna
am
be-
barely online. I find myself
Right.
online a lot. I don't know.
That's
anything
why
about
Well,
it.
I feel like this
That's
is
why
like
it's
more
crazy.
Tumblr, right?
I've
Kind of
never
Tumblr
actually-
energy.
Tumblr's
a good point.
online, Sammy.
Yeah, I was on Tumblr from 2005 till 2010. Is that when
Tumblr was
Adventure
around
Time
in
was out?
2005.
I think so.
Eric is old. so.
Or maybe not.
All
Maybe
right.
I was. I definitely
I
was
didn't
on
think
in
I went back
college
that far. Well, that's
don't know.
even crazier, honestly.
that
All right.
That you
I used to
avoided it.
I had like 4 different Tumblrs. I had 2 meme-based Tumblrs for the Minnesota Twins.
That's why.
I made
It's
memes.
all
This is
baseball
absolutely
themed.
insane.
I had a personal
This
Tumblr
is the
that
lore
was
of
my
Eric's
name.
history.
I had a different Tumblr that was private.
Wow.
I made a Tumblr for my trip abroad. I had to do something to get money to go abroad. Anyway,
this is simply too much.
I
All
think
right.
this is relevant because I was gonna say Adventure Time. I think it's a very if you know Tumblr, it is a very Tumblr
yeah,
show.
I get that.
And I think it overlapped in a very, I guess from our perspective, my perspective, an interesting time of just like pop culture because I was a kid who was super into random humor, which really like
Yeah.
peaked, I feel like, and then started to go away after like maybe like 2013.
Yeah, that feels right. It
Yeah.
was right
Like
around
by
like
by the time
graduating
we
high
were
school
in
for us.
college, it was like way on the decline, basically vanishing. But like when Adventure Time came out, this really resonated with those types of people, the random humor kids.
Yes.
And I had a friend who was in high school who was like really into like raver stuff, you know, like scene and raver, like those two different
I do
niche
not know what that is.
cultures. Okay, I
Raver's
don't
just
know.
like brightly
not gonna get
colors
into
and
it.
lights, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Eric
Things
is,
you would like if you
Eric
on
is like,
drugs.
oh yeah, I'm online all the time, and then Lizzie brings up an
doesn't know
online
any
thing, and he's like, I have no idea what
Crucial
you're talking about.
online subcultures. Okay.
I don't think that that's true.
I know
anyway,
of ravers. This is a thing.
Ravers and scene kids also really liked Adventure Time.
I was a scene
But
kid. I
like
was
these
in
are
an
all
emo
like
band. Does that
pockets
count?
of things.
I don't know. Does
These
it?
are all like pockets of things that don't. I mean, they have not come back. I should say they've not
Yeah.
had their comeback yet. I'm sure they will sometime, as everything does. But
Yeah.
I'm
anyway,
ready for
I
random
think,
humor to come back.
I think that's really interesting, and I think it says a lot about Adventure Time as a series. But then it's also interesting. Adventure Time also, I feel, got. It's not that it got more serious, but it also like locked in. It locked into like its lore at some point instead of just being like silly.
Gotta lock
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So
So it does the thing a lot of Cartoon Network cartoons ended up doing the longer they got is it started out very like episodic. You're just, it's cartoons, so you're just, going on adventures or whatever. And
Yeah.
then as it hit its like 5th season or whatever, it starts to put together, all right, we're going to have some like world lore. We're going to build out this universe. And specifically the reason we're doing this episode is because the new Fionna and Cake shows that are coming out right now.
Right. I
season
forgot
2
about
is
that.
coming out right now.
They are it's like a spin-off series, but it's also like canonical in the world. If you don't know anything about Adventure Time, you're going to be a little lost in Fionna and Cake. So that is why we have come. I'm going to explain everything there is to know about Adventure Time so that
Yes.
you can watch this spin-off series, because there is like 10 seasons of Adventure Time. And some of those seasons are like old school Cartoon Network seasons that were like it released a new episode every week for a full year kind of
Yeah.
season. Like
The
that
good
kind of
old
thing.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Where
we're
television
going to-
shows used to have episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Now what is it? Is HBO miniseries drop where all the
Yeah.
episodes come out at
3
once?
movies
Disgusting.
at once.
They don't come
thank
out
you.
all at once on HBO Max.
this-
or Fionna
Anymore.
and Cake.
Adventure Time also has a 4-part mini-series movies with like
Right.
4 1-hour movies. I didn't watch
Okay.
those. In the classic lore tradition, I watched like 10 seasons of a cartoon, but I won't watch the 4-part mini-series movie.
That's too much.
Futurama did the same thing where because they kept
Correct.
getting canceled and rebought, and they finally turned a bunch of episodes into 4 mini movies.
Yes.
Did
that's
Adventure
right.
Time suffer from something similar where they kept getting canceled and then repicked back up, or have they been consistent?
No, they've been pretty consistent. It's just a matter of, I think those movies came out to kind of like get people ready again for this Fionna and Cake stuff.
Okay.
Because it did happen like after the show was like over and before the Fionna and Cake show.
So
started
it's
to come
over
out.
then. It's
Can-
a done. It's a complete.
Yeah,
show.
Adventure
It's
Time
done.
is done.
I do want to share another thing I feel is critical about Adventure Time. Adventure Time has really kind of become a cornerstone piece of media for modern like newer stuff coming out now, because like I compare it to how Into the Spider-Verse started changing everyone. Like a lot of people were so inspired by Into the Spider-Verse that it's having like effect on now the movies post Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
We live in a post Spider-Verse world, which is positive. I think Adventure
Complimentary.
Time had the same exact effect on cartoons.
I do feel like a lot of
And-
cartoons
The
came out
Cartoon
after that
Networks.
looked very similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
to
that
Yes.
looks
Adventure
similar,
Time.
which is why I think
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of people who worked on Adventure
Okay.
Time and then went on to make their own stuff
yeah.
as well
Like-
that is has lots of just similar vibes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Adventure Time as a whole, but we're also going to try and focus on some of the ways that it relates to Fiona and Cake because there is bits and pieces of that in there.
Yes, I didn't watch a lot of Adventure Time, and there's been a lot of stuff in Fionna and Cake that very much confused me until I talked to CJ about it.
So let's preface this whole thing by taking a look at Adventure Time, the idea as it is through its creator, Pendleton Ward.
That's
That's-
a real person's name.
That's a
That
dope.
is-
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, he's got a fun name.
Penn Ward, as he's sometimes called.
Is he
But
very British?
no, he's very American.
Yeah,
and
with a name like Pendleton Ward. I'm sorry.
He is he's a really interesting guy. He is definitely like a visionary auteur kind of guy. He originally created a short series called a short episode called Adventure Time. I don't know if you guys remember, but Cartoon Network used to like air pilots. They would
Yep.
just like show single pilots of stuff, and then every once in
Yep.
a while they would get picked up to be a full TV show. I
Yep,
think
I
that's
remember.
how The Amazing World of Gumball happened.
I think so.
There's a
There's
couple.
several that.
Yeah, there's a
I think
couple
I
other
can there.
instances.
Is Foster's was a Cartoon Network show, right?
Yes.
Maybe
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
probably like Uncle Grandpa or whatever. That's
Oh my God, Uncle
was in there.
Grandpa.
That show is confusing.
That shows.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Okay.
random humor.
I
feel
did not
that's a-
like that. I didn't like that one.
We watched
but,
like one, or we watched a spin-off or something. Anyway, the Uncle Grandpa universe.
yeah, I don't, well, it crosses over with all the other Cartoon Network shows. It's crazy.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Um,
Yeah.
He's canonically in fucking Steven Universe. I don't want to talk about that.
That's what it is.
That's
We
what it-
watched
that's
the-
where we
That's
know
what it is.
from.
We watched Steven
Yeah.
Universe, and he came into an episode. We're like, who the fuck is this?
Okay, so
Anyway,
Pendleton
okay.
Ward is this guy who's always thinking about stuff, and I think when he creates things, this is my thesis for the episode. He creates things in a way that I feel like are emotionally honest, in a way that like this stuff is all fantasy, it's all make believe, but within these fantasy, there's very like real human emotions and human experiences that I think are common to a lot of people. And so even though he's like in this like weird mystical fantasy realm that he's making, he puts in all of these like really honest emotional stuff. And I think that's pretty-
good art.
well, it's pretty clear as well because of another show that Pendleton Ward would make after Adventure Time. Penn Ward was only like the lead guy on Adventure Time for the first 4 seasons of it, and then he went off to go do more stuff. He created a different show called Midnight Gospel, which
Oh,
is also an animated show. It also has a lot of like really surreal, kind of over the top
It's
magical
so
elements to it.
weird.
Yeah, we watched a couple episodes. We haven't finished it.
Yeah. But the premise of that show is he's having like actual interviews with real people, and they talk about
Yeah.
really deep topics they've been thinking about, like, you know, death and meditation and reincarnation and all that stuff. You can see a lot of that same stuff in Adventure Time as well. I don't think that he was like the guy on Adventure Time towards its later seasons once it started to do a lot more with the deep lore and stuff, but I do think he was still involved in the process as you know, like a creative force behind it. And also Penn Ward said that he originally created the Adventure Time universe like he was writing a Dungeons and Dragons universe, and he
Interesting.
went on to write a Dungeons and Dragons module for Dungeons and Dragons, the Wizards of the Coast. So
I think he currently still works for Wizards of the Coast.
yeah,
I'd have to fact check that. But
yeah, but he was like writing stuff for them. So he's
Yeah.
clearly like a tabletop gamer, RPG kind of guy. A lot of the stuff in Adventure Time is themed around that kind of like video game RPG or like Dungeons and Dragons style world where like those kinds of rules are applying.
Okay.
And so
Is there an
he-
RPG for Adventure Time?
I mean, probably, right? There's
Written by
video
Penn
games.
Ward. Oh,
Probably not written.
I
by
did not
Penn
know
Ward.
that.
I don't know if he can do that. I mean, Cartoon Network owns it. You know how they are. But Pendleton Ward made this short called Adventure Time about a human kid named Penn. So it's kind of a self-insert. Instead of Finn, it was Penn because he's Pendleton Ward. He is trying to save the Princess Bubblegum from the Ice King. And in this, in order to save them, he goes to Mars, where he speaks with Abraham Lincoln, who lives on Mars.
of course.
And he tells him to believe in himself, that he can beat the Ice King. And so he uses his plucky boy energy to overthrow the Ice King and saves Princess Bubblegum and Lady Rainicorn, who is her, like, steed, I guess. These characters will all show up later on. All of them. But we get our main characters. Penn, who would eventually become Finn, the human. He is a plucky boy hero. He likes adventures and saving princesses. That's like his big thing. He is like 13 years old, and so he's not like super smart or, you know, doesn't really even know how things work very much, but he has a lot of energy and he has a good heart.
He's got gumption.
Is he as stupid as Ash Ketchum? Because Ash Ketchum goes out into the world and he's an absolute idiot.
Yeah, he is pretty dumb. Like, there's lots of situations where he's just like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this, so I'll just like punch it, or like, you know. He, like,
So
calls
really,
it nerds.
really a good 13-year-old boy.
Yeah. He is joined by his dog Jake,
His best friend.
who is also his best friend and his adopted brother.
Whoa, dog brother.
Yeah. So Finn and Jake are brothers, and they are like, Jake is kind of he's the older brother, and so he's, you know, got the wisdom and the sort of emotional maturity that Finn does not have.
He's also
As a
voiced
dog.
by, what's his name?
John DiMaggio,
John
who's
DiMaggio.
Bender.
So I mean,
Bender.
like, he's got an
Bender.
adult man voice.
Yeah.
And doesn't he walk on his back legs? Am I remember? He's bipedal.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is not a normal dog. For
No,
anyone who's not
Jake-
seen Adventure Time.
And
Jake the
he
dog.
has like circular eyes, or he wears glasses or something.
He has circle eyes.
They're
I
just
mean, we
his
all
eyes.
do. But
No, but like perfect circles, not ovals.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Jake the dog is a magical dog.
course.
He not only
Ooh.
does he talk, which is not a thing dogs normally do, but he is a shape-shifting dog.
Whoa.
So he can change his body into any shape.
It's
He
kind of
has-
like,
So
he's
he's
like Mr.
choosing to be a dog.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's his like default form.
He's like, he's stretchy.
Yeah. So he has
Okay.
stretchy powers. It's kind of shown that his powers require like effort to use. So like the further he stretches out, the more effort it takes. And so like him being his normal dog form is presumably because that's like what zero effort on his stretchy powers look like. But he
Okay.
can turn into like basically any shape. And
And
does all the
most
time.
dogs are not like Jake.
That is not my understanding of how most
There's like
dogs
not
work.
even any other dogs in Adventure Time.
Yeah, that's,
really.
I think
The
that was the
only
question.
dog,
There's
the
their-
final
no.
dog.
There's Jake's parents,
Right.
Margaret,
Are they also
and
stretchy?
they're not stretchy.
Okay.
And there's also Jake and Finn's other brother, who is also a dog, who is
So
named
did
Jermaine.
Jake's dog parents adopt Finn, and that's how they're
Yes, and
Okay.
that's how they're adopted.
cool.
Parent.
I love that.
So they are the main two characters. We also have Princess Bubblegum. She is a princess made out of bubblegum. There's
Oh, she's
all
made
sorts.
out of bubblegum.
She's made out of
Yes.
bubblegum. There's
That's not-
all
okay,
sorts.
Okay.
There's all sorts of princesses in the Adventure Time world. We're not going to talk about most of them, but there's like Flame Princess, Slime Princess.
Made of flames,
There's-
made of slime.
There's Breakfast Princess.
Oh,
I like that one.
There's
I like her.
There's
How can we forget Lumpy Space Princess?
there's Lumpy Space Princess. There's Nightmare Princess.
Who is
there's
voiced
Hot
by-
Dog Princess.
LSP is voiced by Pendleton Ward.
Yeah, Pendleton Ward, the
I should
creator.
talk like this.
Yeah, she has a Valley Girl. She's like, oh my god, you
Oh my
guys.
god.
I cannot believe what I just saw. There's a lot of princesses. They will come up.
So
But
this is a
Princess Bubblegum-
monarchy-based.
Yes.
Society.
Society, correct. And it's mostly run by princesses, except for the Ice Kingdom, which is ruled over by the Ice King.
The evil.
Who's
Ice
always
King.
trying. He is evil. He's also really kind of stupid as
He's
well.
just fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy.
Mojo.
He's
Jojo
always trying-
energy.
It's a
He's always
crazy
trying
old
to
man.
kidnap the princesses and get them to date him.
Oh.
I like
And then
that. Okay.
Oh, I
and
don't
then-
like that.
I like that.
and then Finn always shows up and saves the princesses. So Finn is like the beloved hero of.
Also, Ice King is voiced by Tom Kenny.
Yeah, SpongeBob is the
SpongeBob.
Ice King.
Wow.
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
But he doesn't quite do the voice as much.
I mean, yeah, it's not the same voice, but you can always tell when Tom Kenny is doing a
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does so many. He's so prolific.
He's very good.
We also have, I mentioned Lady Rainicorn. That is Jake the dog's girlfriend. They are dating together.
Ooh.
That's Princess Bubblegum's horse.
Yeah, but that's in the pilot. In the later episodes, she has some more autonomy. She's like,
Yeah, she seems to just be on her own doing her
Yeah,
Is
own
she
thing.
also
the rain-
bipedal? Is she a horse that
no.
walks on two? Damn, that would.
no,
No.
she's a horse, but she's also in the
She's
shape
like-
of a rainbow, and she's a unicorn.
Yeah, she's like really
Whoa.
long.
She's in the shape
Yeah,
of
so-
a rainbow.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like
I need you guys to
curved.
know that I only know, like, now that you've mentioned Jake the dog, I remember what he looks like. I know sort
Yeah.
of what. If you told me, like, draw Finn from memory, I don't think I could
I
do
think
it.
I would
He's just
put
like a
his
boy.
eyes in the wrong spot.
I think that I would give him, like, the long sword from Final Fantasy. That's
Here,
what's in
here's
my.
Pretty
Rainicorn.
close.
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't
guys
know.
look at my
We
screen.
can't sh- We can't
I
show
don't know how to
pictures on
do
our
it.
audio and podcast. We
No,
have to
well,
paint
I'm
pictures
showing.
with
I'm just showing
words.
them so they can see it.
She's just.
I don't.
She's
oh,
like.
okay.
She's like
Oh,
a
very
rainbow
long.
arch.
I have
but
had
she's a
never seen
unicorn.
that character in my life.
Your description was very accurate.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good
Thank you.
description.
She is Jake's girlfriend. And the Rainicorns are a whole race of Rainicorn beings.
Okay, so
as we-
interspecies dating, cool. And
not
fine.
only that, but actually the Rainicorns and the dogs fought a war in the fairly
Whoa.
recent past, and so it's
Love
actually
that.
kind of like a little
This is
taboo
like a
that they're
Romeo and
together.
Juliet situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It all turns out it's an episode where Jake meets Lady Rainicorn's parents, and he was like, I fought in the Rainicorn and dog war, and he was like, and my life was saved by a dog. I love having a dog in-law son, and he was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Aw.
okay, he's cool with it. But
That's
like,
sweet.
yeah, Lady Rainicorn's parents fought in a war against like Jake the dog's ancestors, but
It was
whatever.
brother versus
I-
brother.
I am kind of obsessed. I mean, this is getting a little ahead. I'm obsessed with Lady Rainicorn and Jake eventually have children together, and their kids are so funny looking.
Yeah, they're
Is it
weird
kind of a
cross-
I have a
donkey
picture up on my
dragon
screen.
situation?
Yeah, it definitely
They're
is.
little dog unicorns.
They're all messed up
That's-
in their own way.
They're cute. I like
Um,
them.
But let's
Oh,
talk
it's
a little
those.
more about the world that they live in, because they don't live in our world. They live in a place called the Land of Ooo.
The land of
Um,
Ooh.
Ooh, O-O-O. And in the Land of
Ooh.
Ooo,
Ooh.
Ooh.
magic exists. Like I said, it's kind of this like Dungeons and Dragons world. And so they are there's like ruins and temples and stuff. Like people in their regular vernacular talk about, oh yeah, I'm gonna go like dive this dungeon. I'm gonna go get some loot. A real high fantasy realm.
I love that.
But
So
some
that's where
things
the
we
RPG
noticed.
things come from.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like I said, a lot of these like early episodes of Adventure Time is just Finn going on adventures. He's being a boy adventurer, and the only real thing that is of great importance that happens in the first real episode of Adventure Time, not the pilot one, but of the show. Finn is kind of like this aspiring hero. He wants to be super cool, and so they're like, "Oh, if you want to be a real hero, you have to retrieve a book called the Enchiridion." And that is
Ooh.
that's the manual on how to be a true hero. And he's like, okay.
Sounds evil.
So in the
It does sound kind of evil.
sounds evil.
so in the first book, he goes through like a labyrinth and stuff, and he eventually gets the Enchiridion. And so throughout the rest of the series, he's like reading this book, and it's like teaching him how to be a good hero.
Okay.
And
What do we learn?
and he just he has a heroic spirit, so we know that he's wants to save people and stuff. But he also has preteen angst because he will have more preteen angst
Because
as we
he is
go.
a preteen.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the main stuff that happens. Eventually, we see kind of a zoomed out look of the planet where the Land of Ooo is. And we see that it looks kind of Earth-like, except that it's got a huge like chunk missing out of it. Like it looks like
Cool.
a huge crater that is pulled out of it. And so whenever you see like the Land of Ooo, you see it looks like a big apple with like a big kind of bite taken out of it, except it's a planet and it has like a scooped out portion of it.
That's got to do
feel like-
crazy things to gravity.
I feel like that
the
would
tides.
interrupt any such
The magnetic poles.
axial rotation.
Yeah, it
Dude,
almost
I don't agree with this universe. That would
maybe
never
it even
work.
has something to do with magic.
Oh.
Oh.
Do you guys just want to get into this?
I want to
Like,
get
you know,
yeah.
Are
into
we not
it.
You know-
into it?
You know
CJ,
how
I want to know
sometimes-
everything about the geography of this
I was
planet.
gonna say, well, you know how sometimes we just kind of go like episode by episode, and to like
Yeah.
build up the suspense the show builds.
No.
We can't-
no,
no.
no
we can't do that
suspense.
for
We want to
10
know.
So I'm just gonna tell you all the stuff that's happening in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
All
Thank
right.
you. This is what I came here for.
All right. Good. The Land of Ooo is our world, basically.
It's Earth.
It's Earth. So what happened is
Ooh.
Earth
Plot
used to be normal.
Our
Okay.
normal ass planet right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, and
That's
as
what it
they
was
as
like.
they as they
Questionable.
explain in some episodes, there are the elementals who are the sort of avatars of the 4 elemental forces on Earth. That's
Okay.
the ice elemental, the fire elemental, the candy elemental, and the
Ah,
slime
yes.
elemental.
The normal
Yes.
element.
Candy
4
and
elements.
slime. Wow,
That's right.
I love this.
So Princess Bubblegum and Princess and Slime
Flame.
Princess are important, and Flame Princess, because they are the incarnations of the elemental forces.
And the Ice King.
What was? Oh, and the Ice King.
The Ice
Is he
King
the other
is the Ice King is
I'm paying
not
attention.
actually. It's crazy.
Wow.
You're actually wrong, Eric. You fool.
one? You
But I should be right.
fool.
Would you agree that I
So-
should be right?
So
You'd
long
think.
ago in dinosaur times, there were the 4 elementals, and they got
Candy
together. and
existed in the dinosaur
yes,
times.
the candy elemental.
Yeah.
And the ice elemental, who was the original Ice King, he saw that there was a comet heading towards Earth. And he identified it as a thing called a catalyst comet. And these catalyst comets supposedly hit Earth every 1,000 years. I don't know
Okay.
how accurate that 1,000 years is, because the distance between stuff should be
More.
not quite that. Yeah. But the original Ice King had a little dinosaur companion named Gunther that was training as his apprentice, because the Ice King is
Gunther.
also an ice wizard.
Of course.
Sure.
And so he saw that this comet was going to strike the Earth, and he saw that it contained malicious energy, evil energy.
Ooh.
And so the catalyst comets are this thing that just happen every once in a while, and they always bring about like a cosmic change in the planet. And they always inhabit these like cosmic forces.
Mhm.
So he says this comet is coming, and it has a malicious energy to it. It's
gonna
going to
bring
try and like
humans
destroy
around.
everything.
Right.
And the other elementals are like, that's just how it works, man. We're just gonna have to deal with that because that's nature, baby. And the ice elemental said, no, I'm going to use my amazing knowledge of magic to stop it.
Wow.
And so he uses his knowledge of magic to create his crown, the Ice King's crown,
Yes.
which is infused with powerful magic.
Whoa.
When he
Okay.
originally created the crown, he created it so that it would grant whoever wears it their wish. And so he was going to wish that the Earth was saved from the Catalyst Comet.
That seems like a lot
But-
of steps.
Yeah,
Why can't
well,
you
that's
just?
well. He was
How
also
else would you-
super self-involved. I mean, how do you stop a
How
comet
would
in
else would
dinosaur
you stop a
times?
comet?
Exactly.
That's a good point.
You make a
That's a
you
good
make a
point.
magical crown that uses the eyes of a firehound as an energy source to grant
I would s-
wishes.
Obviously.
I would simply find all 7 Dragon Balls, CJ.
It's
Am I
pretty
close?
close to that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But before he
It's
can
an
make the
arduous
wish,
task.
before he can make the wish to save the planet,
Mhm. This is where
Something
the
happens to
crown
him.
strategy always fails.
Mhm.
something happens to him and he's incapacitated, and his dinosaur apprentice Gunther gets the crown. And he's like, Gunther, you have to use the crown and cast a spell to stop this. And he is like, you didn't teach me how to cast any spells. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot. And then so
I forgot.
Gunther wears the crown, and he is unable to stop this comet from happening. And also, when Gunther puts on the crown, in his heart, he wants to be like his master, the Ice King, because he thinks he's really powerful and cool. And so the
Oh.
crown, using its wish granting powers, turns him like he starts to get physical features that the Ice King has, and he gains his ability to use ice magic.
Whoa.
And
Wearing the crown kind of turns you into the Ice
Ice King,
wizard.
because Gunther's original like wish was to like be like the Ice King.
And so that continues forever. Like
And so
anyone else
now
who puts it
whenever
on?
anyone puts on the crown, it turns you into the Ice King. At first the transformation is slow, but it gives you the same powers that he has of ice and snow.
Whoa.
But it also makes you crazy because your mind is being
course.
like melded with this
You start-
idea of what the Ice King is.
Yeah, you start fighting against nature and
Exactly.
creating elaborate
It's like-
plans that are
it's
not very
like when you-
straightforward to stop a comet.
It's like when you wear the ring, the one ring.
Yeah.
Can we pull back? Is this all in like season 1 that we
No.
are
No.
Okay.
CJ's
No
dropping
way,
the
man.
lore. He's
I'm just
synthesizing the
doing
whole
it.
show.
They're
I'm
not-
I'm
yeah.
giving you sort of what happens in the world chronologically.
All of this is
Thank
shown
you.
on screen.
Oh, I guess I
Eventually.
also should have said
Yes.
that there was a time before time when monsters existed. That happens
course.
too. But
That's fine. I'm
Whatever.
okay with that.
That I
That's
always
technically
assume
first.
is true in any media that I'm consuming.
the
Basically.
catalyst comet that they were unable to stop is the meteor that kills the dinosaurs.
Yep.
This
That's fine.
this is a comet of extinction, okay?
Yep.
Of
Yep.
evil.
That's why it was evil comet.
It wants to destroy life, all right?
Who wrote this
I
show?
love looking-
Dinosaurs?
I love. I was gonna say I love looking at a rock and being like, "That's an evil rock."
You're just,
It
that's
is
just
evil.
what that's just
Sometimes
what
you
ancient
can tell.
civilizations did. That's just
Yeah,
what
that's
the
true.
Aztec did.
In fairness, as the comet was flying through space, it had like horns coming off of it,
Wow.
like flaming horns.
I assume that
So-
most comets do. I've never looked at one.
Okay. Another thing we need to know about the world of Adventure Time. Reincarnation is not only hinted at, it just does exist. It does happen to people. So
Cool.
when you die, you get reincarnated as something else later.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's another person, sometimes it's just a different thing.
Is
So-
there the concept of nirvana?
I
you
didn't
be-
ask, but kinda, yeah. Actually,
I
there
didn't
is. I'll get to
ask.
that. I'll get to that later. There's a,
did
there's
you
a.
ask?
Well, I'll just whatever.
Gemini?
I'll just do it now. There's a place. There's a place in. There's like Death's realm. When you
Okay.
die, you go there, and then you just like hang out there until you are ready to go back into the world of the living as a new thing. And there's different levels of the Death realm, and there's a place called the
Okay.
50th level of the Death realm, and that is
It's got
where
the
people
best
who are
loot in there, probably.
that's where people who are completely like happy and like at peace go. And so
okay,
like you
yeah.
try to like work your way up through the levels of the Death realms until you can like finally reach that like pure place of happiness.
Wow. Okay, so there is nirvana.
So there is kind of nirvana, yeah. But the comet that hit the Earth and killed the dinosaurs has a dark soul within it, and that
Okay.
dark soul is going to be reincarnated later.
Oh,
This
uh-oh.
rock has a soul.
Space rocks are sentient in a way. They have both a good-evil alignment and desirous purpose and souls. Okay,
Cool.
So-
The comet that
The malicious
Destroyed the
comet.
malicious comet
dinosaurs.
that killed with the behorned
Yep.
the behorned comet
Yes.
Had a soul.
Yep.
Okay,
That
all
is
right, I'm
on
back.
Earth now.
And it's on Earth now, and it killed the dinosaurs.
I killed the dinosaurs.
Yep,
And reincarnation exists, so
understood.
And reincarnation
back.
exists.
It
all right.
makes
Honestly,
sense.
this
It's
is-
all coming together.
To some, depending on who you are, this could all be like, just regular life right now. You could be like, yeah, that's real. All that happens.
I mean, I guess you
Yeah,
could
that's
say that.
true.
I don't think a lot of
I
people
mean,
would
people
agree
believe
with you.
it. You know, there's like lizard people, so why not? I mean,
Yeah,
I
why
think
not?
that there's lizard people. I think that those
Definitely,
exist.
you're right. I mean,
Mm.
I think you're wrong. Okay, so we go to modern-ish times compared to us.
okay.
Cities exist. Regular things are happening. The elementals are around. They've all been reincarnated as their modern versions of themselves.
As
but they're just like-
princesses?
Nope.
No,
There's
we're
three-
eating
Just
candy,
like just
Yeah.
like people.
and then there's slime.
Yeah, there's.
don't know where you
there's
find
three.
slime.
There's three dudes, and then there's an ice lady.
Cool.
And
Is this,
they're
sorry,
pretty.
is this like Genesis? We're like before Finn is a character.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we're way before that.
We're
yeah.
We're
way
like
before.
in-
yeah.
We said like
Okay.
we're in like our time.
Yeah.
Like
At
us.
this point,
Okay.
the
Oh,
world
the-
is still a regular sphere.
and has not been bitten out like an
It
apple.
hasn't
Got
been
it.
Yeah.
exploded out yet. Yeah.
Got it. I'm back.
So the four elementals exist, but they don't have a lot of power because there's not a lot of magic in this world right now.
It's too
Um,
boring.
I don't see magic in my head every day.
It's pretty
You
boring.
don't have enough crystals.
True. But they are able to
True.
sense that great change is coming as well, just the same way that the four previous elementals sense that
So
great
it's
change
been
is
maybe
coming.
1,000 years.
It's been one try. This is
Maybe
the grand
since the
conjunction.
dinosaurs and then they invented human society. Yeah, probably that.
probably at least 1,000.
They don't know exactly what's going to happen, but they're like, a time of great change and upheaval is coming, and we're probably not going to survive. And they're like, you know what? That happens. Our elements will like live on, and we'll be reincarnated at some point. And they were like pretty okay with it, except for the ice lady, whose name
Wow,
is
ice really just has problems with change.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's almost like they're frozen in their ways.
Whoa.
Ooh.
And so the ice lady, whose name is Constance, she freezes herself in a ice sphere.
like
and,
Austin
like,
Powers.
Yeah, exactly. And hides away like under the ocean while all this is happening. What is happening is that there is like a great world war. And during the war, a bomb was dropped that is referred to as the mutagenic bomb. It is the most destructive bomb that has ever been made. And it is so powerful that when it explodes, it annihilates a portion of the planet, which is the part of the planet that is
Why
blasted
did
out.
Anybody create this?
Why indeed? And
His
when
name
the
was
mutagen
Finn Oppenheimer,
And when the
direct descendant.
when the mutagenic bomb went off, it also released all this toxic goo that mutated everybody. It also seems to have unlocked like magic again, because after this world happens and all this mutagenic goo flows through the earth, magic starts to resprout up as this thing that is like very present in the world.
Mhm.
The slime elemental guy is probably so jazzed.
He's fucking stoked.
He's
There's so
dead.
much more
He's
slime
gone.
now.
Well, no,
well,
he's
when he comes
reincarnated.
back.
That's ooze. Yeah.
He will
Well,
be
yeah. When they come
reincarnated.
back, it is actually pretty important.
And it's
Um,
like, wow. Oh, once again, a beoozed world for me.
For
Yeah.
me to thrive in. The other big thing that happens, this is the subtle like deep lore stuff that I'm here for.
Of course.
There isn't-
We're
there's-
waiting for this.
There's an alternate version of this world that's eventually called Farm World, where the bomb doesn't go off, and then it's shown that
Okay.
This is called Farm World.
This is a multiverse thing. Eventually,
yeah.
we get
Oh
a
yeah.
peek at the
We're
ultimate world.
gonna get to
Oh,
multiverse
Adventure
stuff.
Time is a multiverse
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
Okay, good.
There's
Before it got
an alternate
overdone.
version of the world that ends up being called Farm World because it's a land where the bomb never went off and people just went on living life. And in that world, the bomb then later goes off
Oh.
after a period of it having not gone off.
So it just
later
delayed it by like 50 years.
Yeah,
or
it
whatever.
was delayed. We'll talk about that in a bit. But it was delayed, and when it was delayed, we saw that in this world, the Ice King crown gets used, and it like freezes over the whole world after the bomb goes off, because the Ice King is like, I have to stop this bomb. I know what I'll do. I'll freeze the whole world. When they freeze the whole world, you can see a comet fly by and not go to the planet. So it's implied that when the mutagenic bomb goes off, slightly after that is an impact of another catalyst comet.
Okay.
Okay? So we have at
Interesting.
least 2 catalyst comets we know of. And in the regular world, not this alternate world, the mutagenic bomb goes off. All of this like mutation stuff is happening. And then at some point after that, we assume the catalyst comet hit the planet.
Okay.
But this
in
catalyst comet,
this universe.
yes. But
Okay.
this catalyst comet was not an evil comet filled with malice. This catalyst comet,
It was
Candy
is-
happy
comet?
and cute.
this catalyst comet was made as like a counter to that first catalyst comet, because where that one contained all this evil, this one contained the soul of a hero to counteract the evil of the other catalyst
Okay,
comet.
good. Balances.
This is some real Legend of Zelda shit.
It really is. Also,
it's-
when the mutagenic bomb went off, it released basically like necrotic power. It is implied that it is just like death incarnate, to the
Okay.
point of it literally creates a guy who's death incarnate. This is
okay.
this is the Lich. The Lich was created when the mutagenic bomb went off.
The Lich is scary looking.
The Lich is a Lich. He's an he's an undead lord, like a bone lord. He exists, and his only desire is to destroy all life. All he wants to do is kill everybody.
Death incarnate. That makes sense. Bone
He
Lord
is-
is not a very scary
Joe-
name for him.
Bone Lord
Him,
is a
it's
scary
eventually
name.
going to round back to him.
If a guy introduced himself as Bone Lord to you, you would be like, I don't want to be by you.
That's true. I would not want to be around that.
Yes, the Lich is the reincarnated soul of the original Catalyst Comet that wiped out the dinosaurs.
Okay,
And
of
now
course.
that there's another extinction event with this mutagenic bomb,
It's like now's my time to
he's
shine.
back, and now he has physical form as the Lich.
Wait, he came back
Alright.
on that other. Wait.
This is before the other comet.
Okay.
Yeah.
The good comet is after
And then the good comet
mutagenic
shows
bomb.
up.
Yeah.
It's kind of implied it's like a force of nature, but like the comets all have like personalities, and now there's another comet that hits the
Why
Earth
wouldn't they?
that is filled with a heroic spirit.
I'm sorry. I cannot fathom that this is what Adventure Time is about. I'm
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what it is.
It
That's
is.
what I'm
It
saying.
does not-
It goes hard.
It goes hard.
All right. So this all happens, and then the heroic spirit is kind of just lingering around on the planet. A lot of stuff happens over a long period of time, because basically
1,000 years,
all life,
perhaps?
I mean, maybe even longer, who knows, but like all life is like wiped out
By the
but-
Lich?
by this mutagenic bomb.
Oh,
By
okay.
the bomb.
But
Pay
life
attention.
finds
But life finds a way.
Life finds a way, though, you know? Some interesting things that happen. There is a candy factory that was exploded by the mutagenic bomb, and a bunch of that, like, radioactive goo was flowing through it. This eventually
That's good
creates...
for the candy
Yeah.
elemental.
You better believe it. This creates this big, like, goo ooze that gains sentience, to the point of it has like several little bits of it that have sentience. One of these little bits of goo falls off, and it becomes a young girl, and that will eventually become Princess Bubblegum.
Yes. Okay.
She has a bunch of family members that she created as well, kind of based on her initial, I think it's called Nettie, is she calls this like mass of other bubblegum that's like her family.
Wow.
But
Yeah, she's kind of like a hive mind, right?
yeah, she
Yeah.
is kind of like a hive mind. She not only lives now, but she creates a whole race of candy people
So she's
using
like
science.
candy god.
She's like a Dr. Frankenstein type.
Yeah,
Because
Mhm.
she's like a scientist.
she is like a
It's actually
scientist.
Bubblegum's monster. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so she eventually creates the Candy Kingdom over a long period of time, but it literally was just her and then her like family mass that like didn't do anything. All it does is like cry and suck on like food. And then she's like, okay, well, I want to create a kingdom of people, and I want to like create life and stuff. So she ends up creating
She does
the
some
Candy
weird
Kingdom.
shit in some episodes. They like just have like a moment of her like doing something random. Like
It's always like
like,
scary.
but it's always scary. Like the one that I'm thinking of, she has like this little like these little like guys in like a fish tank like walking around, and she's like observing them. They're like very small.
Yeah,
then
just
she,
little
like-
like circles with arms
And then she
legs,
like
and it's,
cuts
running
off their
around.
legs and see what they do.
Oh,
And they're all just like
wow.
ha 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 ha. And then she like takes the cut off legs and she just like attaches it to one of them, and then they just start rolling around on all their legs like a wheel.
I
And
think
she's just like
yeah.
writing it down.
Yeah, she's like fucked up. She's like a weird fucked up
I mean,
scientist.
she came from a giant pile of ooze.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
She had nobody to raise her or teach
From-
her anything.
Right.
That's
from
right,
Which
exactly.
She formed other ooze candy
She-
people, so she's just
she-
like
Yes.
really into like figuring
And she
out what she
created
can do.
monarchies. Just
She
on her
actually
own. And so
she
it's like-
actually did have family members that she also created. But they were she had an uncle and a grandma and a cousin Chicle. And she wanted to create
Chiclet.
she wanted to create the Candy Kingdom, and so she was having them all like work with her to do it, but then they were like, this is too much work, we don't want to do this. And they
Yeah,
kind of like revolted
uprising.
against her. Princess Bubblegum has a whole bunch
They
of like
beheaded her,
history.
of course, as you do with the monarchy.
Yeah, she has like a whole bunch of history. It's not worth going into. She's just kind of this like crazy character. The biggest thing about it is it comes as a big surprise because Finn is like, that's his love interest for a while, because
Yeah.
he's like he's over the course of the series he goes from like a 13-year-old boy to like a 17-year-old boy, and so he starts to get a crush on this girl who's kind of like an older girl, but she's like the
But
she's
she's
a
cool.
princess.
She's
And
she's
made of
ageless,
bubble gum.
Really, yeah, she's
Yeah.
ageless.
and he thinks that she's like 18, and then later he figures out that she's like hundreds of years
Like
old.
12,000 years old.
Which the whole time she's like, Finn, I can't be with you. There's there's like an age difference thing, and like, I just don't feel that way about you. And there's like drama there. But then we figure out that she's actually this like hundreds of year old mutated bubblegum thing that invented all of the candy people. That happens after the Great Explosion. Another thing that happens.
Which is different than the bomb explosion, or is that what you're referring
No,
to?
that one.
Okay.
There's also another of our characters there's another two of our characters that exist during this time. One character is named Simon Petrikov, who is an archaeologist, like researcher guy.
Of course. With a name like that.
He discovers a
And he's like a regular human, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a regular human. He's like a scientist. And also a thing to note about the whole series is that Finn is, when we get to the Finn part, Finn is called Finn the Human, and he is, as far as anyone knows, the only human that exists. So they call him Finn
Whoa.
the Human because he is the last human.
So he's
And
an
everyone else
endangered
is-
species.
Yeah, and
Yes.
everyone else is either like a mutated like creature or like an artificial candy person or
So
like
prior
a
to the
demon.
bomb, prior to the explosion, there
The
were
Great
there were
Explosion.
humans. It was
Yeah.
like
Yes.
a
It was
normal
It was
world.
just
Yep.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I do also think that sometime after the bomb went off, it mutated dogs so that they started talking.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Oh,
that
so
makes
we're
that's
sense.
back-
another
so,
thing.
So Family Guy exists in this post-bomb universe.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
too many
And-
people
and
in Family Guy.
Yeah. Well, Brian
You're
the
right.
dog was.
Brian's
created.
actually from this universe.
So like,
I-
Part of the
like
multiverse.
Simon existing implies that like some people survived the mutagenic bomb, and it's just that they eventually all died off.
They
But,
either
I mean,
died
we
off
had
or
to
they
get
got-
Finn somehow in that at
Right,
that point in
right.
Adventure Time. But
Yeah.
he seems to be the only and last.
Everyone's
human.
just like, oh, a human. That you're the only one, and he's like, oh, okay.
Cool.
And
I
again,
love being
like,
reminded of that.
Yeah.
well, again, a lot of the like themes of these episodes too are about like human themes of like feeling alone or like not having a community and stuff like that. And like Finn wrestles
I'm
with a lot
going
of
to
that.
my media to escape reality, CJ. So
No,
if
it makes you
don't-
feel,
if
Eric.
you don't turn this around over the next 30 or so minutes, I will be upset by this episode. If you don't make me feel disconnected from this cruel world,
Well,
that's
so
what my media should do.
no one assumes that the Ice King in like the Adventure Time series, the normal Ice King that we know of, no one thinks he's a human because he's like a crazy blue guy who shoots light, who shoots like snow powers. But as we learn, Simon Petrikov was just a regular human, but he, as an archaeologist or paleontologist or whatever the fuck he was, he discovers the Ice King's crown as like an artifact from the ancient past.
Oh no.
And so he's studying it. And as he's studying it, this mutagenic bomb goes off. And the crown is like whispering to him to like, you can use my power to save people.
I'd
like,
look very nice on your
you
head.
can do it. And so he's like, okay, I'll use this crown. Part of it is he also had a companion, sort of, I can't remember if they were like actually together or just like really interested in each other. But they're coworkers who also, she was
They have a romance.
like an archaeologist.
Whoa, dramatic.
He
Her
was
name's
like,
Betty.
Office romance.
yeah, her name is Betty. He's like, I want to be with you. And she also wanted to be with him, but she disappears. And so that drives him like crazy. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll use this crown now that everything's exploding and stuff.
I
and
mean,
so
that is
crown-
the time to try out
Yeah.
the scary cursed relic that you found.
Right, exactly. So the crown gives him Ice King powers, but it's also transforming his body into the Ice King, and it's also transforming his mind into this like crazed version of the Ice King.
You can never handle change.
And it makes him immortal. So all that
Oh.
stuff happens.
Okay.
So he is just living through the aftermath of this atomic bomb that goes off. He's like kind of sometimes wearing the crown, sometimes not. But like the crown is extending his life and he's able to survive all this mutagenic horror stuff. But now there's all these like crazy mutants running around and they're like, they're not nice mutants. They're all like monsters basically.
Okay. Except for the candy people.
Well, those don't exist yet.
there
Oh,
are
okay.
there are also vampires.
There's also vampires that exist.
Of course.
Because well, I don't know if you're gonna. I assume you're gonna talk about her. There's Marceline.
Yeah. So that's another character we have from this time. While Simon is like going through the wreckages of the world after this huge explosion, he comes across this small girl who also has survived the explosion. Huh, that's weird. Oh, this is not a normal girl.
Human girl.
This is a half human, half demon
Oh,
whose name is Marceline.
cool.
Marceline's mom got with a demon by the name of Hunter Abador.
That's the most demon name I've ever heard.
Yeah, he lives in a place called the Nightosphere. As we're going to learn, there are many worlds that are connected either through magical means or that are just connected because they just happen to be connected.
Okay.
The Nightosphere is one of those like realms that you need to take a portal to get to, but it's where all the demons live.
I mean, it's kind of like hell.
It's basically hell,
Yeah.
except you don't seem to go there when you die.
it's just a
where-
separate,
it's just-
standalone
yeah,
hell
it's just
I mean, it's like the
that
cartoon
you can
version of
visit
hell.
Right.
if you want.
it's just
Yeah.
where demons live and the undead and that kind of stuff. And so
Yeah,
Marceline is a half demon, so she survives the explosion, but her mother does not because she is just a regular human, and her father is in the Nightosphere. And so she's kind of all alone in this world, and Simon's also all alone in this world. And so the two of them are like the only two kind of immortal beings hanging around. And so he kind of pseudo adopts her as like a daughter figure. And he
His
tries
new
to
prodigy. The
yeah,
Ice King
well,
never
he-
got to finish training Gunther.
Right.
Well, and
Good
he
Lord, I
tries to
forgot about
protect her
that.
as much as he can, but with all the dangers in this new world, he needs to use the power of the crown to protect her. but also the more he uses the crown, the more he becomes the Ice King and stops
becomes
remembering.
crazier.
Yeah,
too.
and stops
the real
remembering.
conflict of
Yeah.
parenthood.
He basically
Yeah, exactly.
There's an explicit episode of Adventure Time that makes, I think, this clear that then the relationship between Marceline and Simon the Ice King is one of a grandchild or child of a parent that has dementia
Yeah.
that no longer remembers you.
Ooh,
Which is
that's
really, really sad.
That's
Right.
so
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
sad.
The episode where they make
you-
that clear is quite sad. I
Well,
will
yeah,
say.
it's especially because they're like singing a song together, and he's like
Yes.
remembering some aspects of
You
their
guys-
time together.
Oh no.
What did I
And then-
tell you
and then-
about disconnecting me from the harsh reality?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying though. Is this show has all these moments of like
gonna
real
walk out.
emotional honesty of taking these like really crazy situations with magic and stuff, but actually it's about like regular human things that you think about.
Wow, that's beautiful. If you think about it.
I won't think about it anymore. So Marceline and Simon are carrying on. Eventually, Simon is completely overwhelmed by the crown's power and becomes the Ice King, who erects his Ice Kingdom. And since he's immortal, he's just kind of there now. Again, he's crazy, and he thinks that he is this idea of what his apprentice Gunther thought of the Ice King, and like
It's like a game of telephone.
Yeah,
he
he's kind of the
is.
impression of that, and so he tends to like get a sidekick, and he'll just like start calling him Gunther because in his mind, his like apprentice is called Gunther.
Right.
So eventually he creates the Ice Kingdom, and all of his subjects are penguins, and
Yep.
he just calls all the penguins Gunther. Although, as it will be clear, eventually there is one specific Gunther penguin who is like the Gunther.
I also love the way Tom Kenny says Gunther.
Gunther.
He's always like Gunther, Gunther.
Come now, Gunther.
I like that
Um,
the dinosaur has become a bird. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
real.
that's funny. I didn't think about
Isn't
that.
it, though?
That's very funny, actually.
Yeah, I also think the implication is that the penguins survived because they're not like different. They're sort of regular penguins, I think, but the penguins survived presumably because they're just at the South Pole, and like
Yeah.
that was not
That was far
that was
enough
not
away,
super.
probably.
Yeah, that was not super affected by the bomb. Okay, so we have the Ice King now. Marceline is half demon. Her dad has the power to suck out souls and eat them because he's a demon. Marceline also inherits this power of sucking souls. Eventually, she's attacked by a bunch of vampires, and they're like, "Oh, cool! You're like one of us, like a cool demon person. Do you want to join us?" She doesn't want to because the vampires hurt humans, and she likes humans because her mom was a human and because Simon's a human. Eventually, she goes around and she sucks out all of the souls of these vampire guys to the point of there are no more vampires anymore because she sucked out all the vampire souls. And in doing so, she gets the vampire curse. So her name is Marceline, the Vampire Queen, but she's the only vampire there is, and she's actually half demon who just sucked vampire
She's
souls.
yeah,
out of
she's
their
a half
body.
demon who got kind of vampire powers. is
Yeah.
That's
basically-
wild.
Yeah.
To get
Yeah.
vampire powers from eating the vampire.
That's
That's
irony.
not
Right.
normally how it
That's
goes.
irony. That's-
Well, and she's
she
also
wanted
been
to rid
bitten
the
by
world of vampires,
a
but
vampire.
became one herself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Is
also
that
got bit
irony?
by a
I
vampire.
think so.
I think that's irony.
I don't think anyone
That's
knows for
irony.
sure. So Marceline the Vampire Queen is also unimmortal. She basically dates Princess Bubblegum
Oh
at
yeah,
a certain point.
everyone's favorite.
That's
ship
actually
from
the,
this
one of the
show.
only things I know about this show.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're both immortal and they're both lesbians,
Lesbians.
so they, I guess, are like, cool, let's be together forever.
they have some back and forth in Adventure Time.
Yeah, again, we're gonna skip all the like, will they, won't they? Because Finn
yeah.
has a lot of that with a lot of people.
But
At one
then-
point,
Yeah.
Well, he's
At one
saving
point,
all the princesses.
But they are canon. They like
yeah.
canonically are together at the end of Adventure Time.
Correct.
Princess Bubblegum and
all,
Marceline.
and then that also makes Ice King kind of like Princess Bubblegum's like father-in-law kind of thing.
Right.
Like Marceline makes her go over there for like dinner and stuff, and she's like, he's crazy, right? And she's like, yeah, but he's.
But I love it. She
Yeah.
loves him.
He's
Yeah,
my
Marceline loves him.
parental figure.
But
Yeah.
that helps at some point because Princess Bubblegum, who's really good at science, there's kind of this idea that there isn't really technically magic in this world. It's just like super advanced science. But also there is magic. It's like both, kind of. But it's kind of that idea of like really advanced magic looks very similar to really advanced science, etc.
Yeah.
And so Princess Bubblegum figures out stuff about the Ice King's crown, and then that's when you figure out a lot of the like backstory with how it works and stuff like that. Because the crown has like circuitry, but the circuitry is also like magical like inscriptions and stuff like that. So
I like when
It's
they
that
combine
kinda deal.
science and magic.
I'm
Yeah.
concerned. I'm concerned that you haven't introduced Finn yet. I'm very
Yeah.
concerned.
Well,
He-
we're
he
since
doesn't-
we're doing all the really old people. who
Yeah,
are all
yeah,
the main
because they're all the
characters
oldest
besides
ones.
Finn.
I'm concerned that we. Okay, all
We'll
right.
get there.
Well, we don't have a lot to talk about Finn. So Finn will date. Well, I mean, a lot of it's about like him going on adventures and like dating princesses and stuff. This all happens like so over like I would say the 6th, 7th, and 8th seasons of this whole thing. You're getting all this like backstory about how the world works.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't think anyone else is really left. Marceline has a falling out with her dad, and so the characters are all kind of in place now. This is how the Land of Ooo has kind of gotten formed over time. So there's like the Ice Kingdom, there's the Candy Kingdom, there's the Slime Kingdom. There's all these kingdoms that are popping up as the survivors or mutants or whatever have you are like rebuilding society in the aftermath of this explosion.
And there's a flame kingdom too,
There's a Flame Kingdom with Flame Princess.
or are they
Um,
princessdoms?
well,
Are
no,
they
the flame-
led by
the flame-
princess or
The Flame Kingdom has a Flame King. It also has Flame
It
Princess.
is majority princesses though.
It's mostly
Okay.
princesses.
Okay.
Because again, it's like Dungeons and Dragons rules where it's like, oh, I'm a hero. I like
Yeah, you
interact
say
with princesses.
yeah.
There is also a lot of wizards. They have like wizard schools and they have wizards of different like, like nature wizards, and there's Abracadaniel, who's not a very good wizard, but he exists.
Some of these names are really good.
And-
Marceline the Vampire Queen's very good.
Yeah,
Abracadaniel's
Abracadaniel's really
good.
good. And another thing we learn about the magic in this world is it doesn't have to be something inherent, but it can be. So like the elementals have inherent magical abilities with the elements. There are also wizards, and wizards can learn how to do magic. But then there's also the Ice King, who is an ice wizard, but he didn't learn how to do magic. He got it from his magical crown that is based on
Right.
Is
A
the crown
wizard.
stuck on his head now?
Is it a part
No,
of
he
his
can
head?
take it off, but he doesn't tend to do that. And even when he takes the crown off for a little while, he's still crazy now.
Okay.
Yeah, it like permanently affected
Yeah, he's
him,
like permanently
basically.
Ice King now.
Okay.
And like I said, he's gotten this like weird twisted idea that he wants to like kidnap princesses and date them.
That's so weird. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the original Ice.
I don't
Right?
know. He just
I-
he
Was
just
that-
wants to like impress.
Gunther
He
was
just
like,
wants to
he
like.
must always be dating all the princesses.
Yeah.
He's
He
so
he does. He
cool.
just wants to like impress girls and stuff. He's not like, it's not like rapey or anything. He's just like, hey, check out my cool drum kit. He'll
Yeah, he just
like
wants
kidnap
them
he'll,
to-
like kidnap a princess and like show him his drum kit.
Yeah,
or
he like
whatever.
just wants them to like him, kind of.
hmm
Okay, so Gunther thought that was the case.
Part
with
of
the
a-
Ice
Yeah, I
King,
guess,
that
yeah.
he was always impressing women, and so now that is.
Yeah.
All right. So we have some of our kind of immortal characters that are gonna be in all of these stories for stuff. Let's talk about some of the deities that exist in the world.
Whoa.
Wow, we
because-
haven't even touched I feel like these people are cold.
No,
deity,
they're just
deity-ish.
they're just impressive, but there are actual like celestial beings that exist in the world as well. So
I wanted to pull back earlier and ask: the 4 elements are those?
Yeah.
Are those existing things? Like the Ice King is a reincarnation of the element, or is that
No,
just like
so-
a way of the world? Is the 4?
So
elements?
that's a big thing. Remember, the original Ice King that made the Ice King's crown, he did die. He got reincarnated as that one ice lady who froze
Yeah.
herself before
Right.
all of the stuff went down. So this new Ice King is not a reincarnation of the original Ice King, he's a regular human guy that got corrupted by the power
Yeah.
of the crown.
But the
No, I
other
got-
elementals are
The
reincarnations.
other
right?
elementals are reincarnations. They don't remember their past lives. That's how
So the
reincarnation works.
elementals are. So the elemental at one point was a sentient thing, like the comet was sentient.
Yeah,
And maybe it
all
doesn't
the
matter.
elementals.
It doesn't matter.
All the elementals were like people. They all would hang out, but they just like
Okay,
didn't
yeah,
have a lot
okay.
of magic. They didn't really have
Okay.
magic powers in our modern realm because that
We
wasn't
were
a
low
very
on
magical
magic.
world.
It was
yeah.
too
yes,
boring.
until the ooze and
but then-
such.
Right, but after the comet happened, now these new princesses, their elemental is shit. So, like, Princess
I
Bubblegum
see.
is made of candy. The Flame Princess is a fire princess. The Slime Princess is a slime princess. She's like
Okay.
sentient slime.
Okay.
So now they are all the reincarnations, and yeah, magic is way more prevalent than it used to be. So they're like full like avatars of their elements.
Okay.
Got it. Sort of.
In the celestial realm, we learn throughout the series that there's a multitude of worlds that are all connected with each other through like magical portals, or you can cast spells or do all sorts of different things. But the center of all of the universes, there's this place called the Time Cube. And inside the Time Cube, yeah, inside the Time Cube,
Not the GameCube.
yeah, the Time Cube. Inside they do have a sentient GameCube. It's called BMO. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
I've
But
seen him.
He's
yeah,
not a
he's
GameCube.
cute.
he's like a Game
Like,
Boy.
he's
Yeah,
He's a
I know.
Game
Yes.
Boy.
He's a literal Game
I've seen,
Boy.
I've seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen that.
But in the center of all the universes, there's this entity known as Prismo, and Prismo's Time Cube emits a like this wave that allows all other universes to experience time.
Voiced by
Whoa.
Camille Nanjiani, also,
Oh,
is
okay.
Prismo,
Cool.
yeah,
which I
Okay.
love.
and
Prismo
and
is
so
a really funny name.
yeah.
Prismo.
So he sits. Well, he's made of light. He looks like a shadow on the wall. And he
And
It's
this
like
is,
purple.
and Prismo
That
lives
would
in
be
like the
the
center
lack
of the
of light.
Earth. Like
he lives in the center
or-
of the universe, or of the
Okay.
multiverses, I guess I should say.
Cool. Okay.
He is
And
time,
so-
the
outside
keeper
of time. It creates time,
Yeah.
but it's kind of outside of time.
He does have a
Yes.
boss. He talks about his boss and how he doesn't want to upset his boss, but we don't know who that is.
That's funny.
Prismo exists in this time cube. He is the dream of an old man. That's just what he is.
Cool.
So he has a boss. There's also an old man that dreams.
There's
him.
an old man that is sleeping, and he is dreaming about Prismo, and that's why Prismo exists. At one point,
It makes a lot of sense.
I was going to say, spoiler, at one point the Lich tries to destroy Prismo by waking up the old man. Because that's the only way he knows how to destroy Prismo.
Wow. So the old man exists physically somewhere.
Yes, also in the time cube.
and is always
In the
okay.
time cube. Okay.
And he's just
I
sleeping.
mean, and I'm fine with this. I'm fine with. I mean, I'm okay
Right.
with
This is fine because he is a deity. He's supposed to be weird.
Yeah. I like Prismo. I like that.
If you are able to get to Prismo at the center of the multiverse, he will grant you a wish.
Another
but
wish
the wish-
granting.
But the wish has to follow certain rules because again, Prismo's boss has rules.
There's
for
like
what he's allowed to do.
bureaucracy is
Yeah.
kind of just all it is to Prismo. There's
Well,
bureaucracy.
that
with
seems
what he
smart
does.
after we saw the Ice King create a crown that grants your wish with no rules on it, and now it
Exactly,
makes
and now-
everybody into a crazy demon
insane
ice
rules,
character.
Yeah,
so
we need rules.
seems pretty smart.
Prismo is going to be important. Obviously, he's at the like center of reality. We have the Lich. We already talked about him. He's not really a deity. He's just kind of an undead evil guy. He calls himself a student of an entity known as they all sound very similar.
I thought you
Is
were going
it-
to say Grappa.
I thought he was gonna say Krav Maga, which is a
Golb.
form of martial arts.
Gold?
Golb.
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 Wow.
There is an ancient and immortal being of pure hatred and destruction known as Golb. The Lich says that he is the student of Golb. Like he wants to impress Golb with how many
Golb.
people he kills.
I like that word a lot.
Is-
It's
am
really
I
fun
right?
to say.
Scary.
Gold.
Golb
Am I r-
Golb is an interdimensional like demon.
Am I wrong that a lot of characters in this universe have been like, I need to impress upper character? Is
Yeah.
that is that a common theme?
Or
Okay.
I don't think the
princesses.
Lich is like. I think it's like a throwaway line. The Lich is like, "I am the student of gold." It's to be like, "I am
Okay.
like death.
I mean, yeah,
I
it's
am
just
of
like,
death."
They're
Yeah.
gods,
Oh, yeah, okay.
so
And Golb. So there's Golb. This part is not like directly mentioned in the media, although we were led to believe that they're somehow all related. There's also a four-faced being known as Glob, Grod, is it Grod, Glob, Grom, and Glod.
Those are their names.
There's
okay.
other names.
each face has
Each
that
Each
name?
face
face
is a
has
name.
a different name.
Yeah, of course.
And this is important because the people in the Land of Ooo will say things like "Oh my glob, oh my glod," and they're like
they pick one.
I was gonna say that's the thing is like for a long time they just say that like "Oh my glob, oh my grod,"
Oh my god.
and
you-
then
and the
then later
viewer
on,
just thinks
and they're all like
they're-
slightly different, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're all just like saying random stuff, and then you realize that they're all referencing this one guy who has four faces with four personalities, and he is sort of a like protector deity of the earth. So we're led to believe that like he like showed up at some point in the past and like helped out, and people like use his name like the word God.
So the
because he's this,
viewer,
like divine
the viewer
being.
doesn't have that context right away. It's just in the universe, people are saying
In the universe,
God
people are like, "Oh my God."
incorrectly.
Yes.
Well, no, they are saying it correctly.
Well, no, but it sounds
we don't
like they're
know
just
that yet.
saying,
Yeah.
It just sounds like they're saying God.
it's
We're-
sort of
interesting
we
that
must-
Glob and Golb are so
I was gonna
similar.
say we must believe that Glob and Grod and Glom and Golb, the demon guy, are all related somehow, and they do have similar designs.
Okay.
So there's never a direct connection made between those in the show, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that they must have like some sort of connection there.
Do we see
Glob
them?
Glob God lives on Mars.
Yes, we do see that.
He's a Martian.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. They're Martian. They also have a younger brother. His name is Magic Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Is he a
Magic
magician?
Magic Man has been banished to Earth by his brothers Glop, Grod, God, Glod, because he
Is this the
played
same
two-
Magic Man that Hart wrote their song about? It could be, right?
Yeah.
It might
probably
be.
is.
We don't know.
Okay.
They banished Magic Man to Earth for playing too many pranks on them. Specifically, he cast a spell on them that made them bald. And so Magic
And that's where they drew the line.
That
They were
sounds
Yeah.
like a
"Be
little.
gone."
I think the Magic Man from the Hart song Magic Man could have done that. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Magic Man has been banished to Earth. But he's also a Martian and has magical powers, so maybe is kind of a divine being. There's also the Cosmic Owl. He shows up in your dreams if your dreams have prophetic importance.
Oh.
And he
Um,
hangs out. Cosmic Owl always hangs out with Prismo.
Prismo and the Cosmic Owl hang
well,
out.
because
they're
they're
like
dream
buds.
boys.
Yeah.
They're friends.
There's also Death. He exists. He is just like a skeleton man that reaps souls.
He's different than the
Is
Bone Lord.
Prismo aware that he's just part of a dream?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why I was curious about that, but I just was curious. Like if he,
The Cosmic Owl
Um,
too.
The Cosmic Owl probably knows.
Okay.
So they all like
can
hang
you
out
argue
together.
that the whole thing is a dream because Prismo is in
Yeah.
a dream and he created time, so the whole thing is a dream.
So we know these guys are on the same level too because like Prismo has a party at his place at one point, and like Groddod is there, and the Cosmic Owl is there, and Prismo's hosting, and they're all like just hanging out talking to each other, and Death is there, and he's just hanging out with them.
Okay.
Death is married to Life.
course. I
Life
love that.
Life is a two-headed snake lady.
Cool.
And the
Always
two of
magic.
them, yeah, the two of them will eventually have a son known as New Death. He is not important right now.
Good.
New Death.
New
But
Death.
so we have Death, we have New Death, we have the Lich, who is reincarnation or the reincarnation
He's-
of a comet that was malicious.
Yep.
He's
not
not
death. He's
death.
like a
He's
reaper.
the Bone Lord.
Yeah, he's the Bone Daddy.
He's the Bone Daddy, but he's not the guy who is just bones.
Right.
Who's
So
death? Okay.
what'll
Yeah, I got it.
eventually happen at the end of all of this stuff is that the Lich will infect New Death and will try to get rid of reincarnation because he wants all life to die
Boo.
always.
Boo.
And so
Fuck
he's so
you.
evil that eventually he will take over New Death and try to make all things die forever.
Scary.
I mean,
And he is eventually stopped by Finn and Jake, who have at this point, at the end of all the series, have died. So this all happens in the Death Realm.
so
Okay, yeah.
the are creatures aware of their past
yeah.
incarnations?
Great
No,
question.
not
Eric was
g-
about to ask that too.
Not generally. Finn has
At that
Finn
point,
has
dying
this-
doesn't matter then. If
I was gonna say Finn. Well, you don't know for sure though. I think is the big
Okay.
thing. But like, so Finn has this place in his mind that he calls the Vault, because he has seen a lot of traumatic stuff. Like he fights the Lich at one point, who is
Yeah.
like this crazy death guy. He was abandoned by his parents. That's why Jake's parents eventually adopted him. He's like, he goes on all these adventures and he like sees all these like crazy trans-dimensional shit. So he's like constantly being traumatized. But he deals with it well because he's got this place in his mind called the Vault where he puts stuff that he doesn't want to think about.
Ah,
at one point-
that's so bad.
Relatable.
At one point,
That's so
at one
bad.
point he pulls a memory from the Vault, and it's a memory of guilt, but it's a memory of guilt from one of his previous lives.
Okay.
Whoa.
And that's when he learns that Princess Bubblegum is like really old, because Princess Bubblegum interacted with one of his previous lives back before the Candy Kingdom was like fully established. And they did a bunch of stuff, and Finn's previous incarnation was eventually became friends with Princess Bubblegum, but then she was like secretly trying to steal one of Princess Bubblegum's amulets because I don't know, she just like fallen in with a bad crowd and she was like just trying to get by.
A lot of relics, a lot of amulets in this universe.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of magical items.
Yes.
And so she like Finn's past life had stolen this amulet from her, but then accidentally fell into this river of mutagenic ooze, which still existed, because Princess Bubblegum eventually was able to turn the mutagenic ooze into like candy, like a candy river.
Yes.
But
Yes.
before then, it was still very radioactive and like it turns you into a zombie person. And so Finn's past version accidentally fell into that ooze, and then had all this guilt about stealing from Princess Bubblegum. So then in Finn's life, he kept having these like weird dreams where it was like a look under the floorboards thing, and he's like, Princess, I'm supposed to tell you that you're supposed to look under this floorboard. And then it turns out that the tree house that they live in, because Finn and Jake live in a big tree house.
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
The treehouse that they live in grew on top of where Finn's old body died.
Like a
And
crypt.
so yeah, and so underneath the tree, like in the basement, they look there and there's this amulet that had been taken from Princess Bubblegum, and he was like, I'm supposed to give this back to you. And she's like,
Wow.
oh, okay.
She's like,
So
I
there's-
didn't
there's,
miss
like-
that at all.
There's like instances where like Princess Bubblegum will have talked to Finn in two separate lives. And they don't like necessarily know it, but you know, it's one of those
Okay.
like you start with a fresh slate every time you go in.
Okay. So
But there's a
Finn-
little bit of that like residual spiritual energy from past lives.
Finn is he is aware of his past life at a certain point.
Also, when you die, you become aware of your past lives as well. So, like when Finn was dead at the end of the series and he's in the death realm, they're like, you can be the form of any of your past lives that you want to. And then he just
Okay.
chooses to look like Finn, which helps us.
Yeah,
the
recency
audience.
bias.
But
Yeah, that-
I was gonna say, but as a like. He like morphs through a few options, and so that's how you know like he was a butterfly at one point, and then he was that one girl that Princess Bubblegum talked to, and then I think he's like a pile of like pink goo at one point, and then he's like, I'll just be Finn, I think.
That's good.
So we have all these cosmic entities that are also at play. Finn and Jake will eventually like meet a bunch of them through their many travels through the dimensions. But those are all like the main characters that we're dealing with. What we learn about a couple of the other characters, there is Gunther, who is a penguin. But as it turns out, Gunther, though like the Gunther that becomes like the main penguin,
The Gunther.
he is actually an alien from another planet.
Oh.
He is a greedy alien that wants to like consume other powers so that he can become more powerful.
Okay.
A catalyst comet was coming to Earth, and Gunther, as the space alien, wanted the power for himself. So he tried to take it, and then Globgrod prevented him from taking the catalyst comet, and then banished Gunther to Earth. And then underneath Earth's gravity, his huge alien body compressed into the shape of a penguin. So the whole time, the penguin has actually been this like otherworldly being that's been trapped in this body.
Okay.
And then at some point, Gunther goes to space, and then the reduced gravity allows him to like regain his physical form.
Does he look like a big penguin in that case, or does he look like
No,
an alien?
he's like a crazy devourer of worlds kind of look.
Okay.
Because he's trying to devour. There's another catalyst comet that's coming, and this is where we learn about all the catalyst comet stuff. But another one is coming, and he's trying to consume it, and so Finn has to go to space in order to stop it.
I didn't think that Gunther had evil intentions. I thought
Gunther
was
is
just...
evil. No,
This
at one
is-
point, Marceline's dad comes from the demon, the Nightosphere place, and he's like, "You and me, we can rule this world together." And then
But-
it like cuts to the other side, and he's talking to Gunther, and he's just like, "Wah," and he's like, "What?
because he's
No,
a
you
penguin.
can't. You can't have my soul. That's crazy." And he's like, "Wah," and he's like, "No, I'm not gonna give you my soul."
So I
So
thought
it's like-
Gunther was
it's
the
implied
helper
that, like-
Well,
of-
that's a different Gunther.
Yeah,
No, that
okay.
is Gunther. He
No,
like
but the
is helping.
dinosaur, it was a
Oh,
different
the
Gunther.
original dinosaur guy. Yeah,
Oh,
that was the
yeah,
That's
original.
different.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
okay.
called
Gunther
he's
is
called
just what Ice
Gunther.
King named his penguin
Yeah,
because he calls
So
everything
Simon
Gunther.
Simon becomes Ice King, and
Mhm.
becomes an erratic
Yes,
being,
an unreliable
guy.
narrator. Even.
Yeah. Okay.
And then so he names his penguin Gunther, and then Gunther
Yes.
turns out to be this space alien that's like trying to regain his evil form.
Okay. Yeah.
So there are many universes, as we've said. The first time that the Lich and Finn meet, Princess Bubblegum had like trapped the Lich in like amber or some shit like that for a long time, but she was like, the Lich is like trying to get out. He wants to like destroy the whole world.
Yeah.
Um,
As liches
Finn
do.
Right. Finn
Yes.
eventually has to like confront the Lich in fighting, and he kind of becomes the main villain as we go. He's like always trying to destroy all life. And Finn, as the hero, is always like there to oppose him. Finn is also like too strong for like a normal boy. So either I always interpret it as like in this like far future, even like a normal child boy is like really strong compared to all the like random silly creatures that are all over the place.
Stronger than Candy, that notably
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
typically have muscles or.
Right.
So like that's my reading of it. Some people
Okay.
were like, "Oh, maybe Finn's also mutated by all the mutation stuff and he's like super strong."
Or it's like the heroic spirit gives you strength.
Or the heroic spirit gives you strength. All that sort of stuff can be true. And then I think that pretty much gets us to Adventure Time. Like that is what's happening
Now
in all
we're
of Adventure
finally
Time.
ready to
Now we're finally
begin.
at
Well, like
Adventure
Finn is just like interacting with all these crazy characters. He's going on adventures. He's like discovering all these secrets to everything that's happening. A couple things about Finn. For some reason, your reincarnations tend to like mirror you in ways.
Okay.
And so in like every incarnation of Finn, he eventually ends up losing his right arm. Through like something that happens. So like that one like previous girl incarnation I was talking about, she was missing an arm already during this whole story. Finn has his like alternate farm world version self. He's also just happens to be missing an arm. Finn eventually through the course of Adventure Time loses his arm and then ends up replacing it with a bunch of stuff.
Do you see the like reincarnations without their arm first? Is there like foreshadowing
like
that he's
a
gonna lose
Yes,
his
there
arm?
was.
Yeah.
There was foreshadowing.
And
I remember it.
also another thing that happens is Finn grows up a lot of different times, and through like weird stuff, it's like not for real. So at one point he was like sad about his relationships not working out with any of the princesses, and so he like builds himself a pillow fort and he goes into the pillow fort, and then that creates like a pillow dimension for a while.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
he like meets a pillow lady and like decides to settle down in this pillow life, and so he has a whole lifetime that he lives as Finn in this like pillow dimension where he has a pillow wife and pillow children. And in that dimension, when he grows up, he is missing his arm by the end of his life because he like lives his whole life until he's an old man, and then eventually he's like, what a good life. And then when he dies, he like comes out of the pillow dimension. He's like, whoa, that was a crazy like dream or whatever I just had. Yeah.
Wonder how he lost his arm in a pillow world.
Yeah, I know,
That
right?
does seem really
Everything's-
tough.
Gang-
Because he's still a human in that
gangrene.
world, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, he becomes a hero in that world because he's so strong compared to pillows. But yeah, I guess something got his arm. So I'm going to talk through, instead of trying to like hit beat by beat what goes on in Adventure Time. And most people have seen up through when so he like wants to date Princess Bubblegum. She shuts him down. He's kind of on the rebound and he meets Flame Princess, and the two of them are more appropriately aged together. And they
That's
try to
good.
make it work, but she's like she's made of fire.
She's made of fire.
Right.
So he like has a difficult time touching her. They're like trying to like hold hands and they like can't because it burns. You know,
That's
again,
kiss.
And
They do-
pizza.
and I was
They
gonna
do
say
kiss.
insert how this relates to like how it's difficult to get close to a person emotionally sometimes.
I'm leaving. I told you.
And so it doesn't work out with Flame Princess after a certain point, and I think this is where most people stop watching. But then at this point is when we start to get a lot of this lore stuff. Like this is when we start to learn all the things I was just talking about with all this other stuff.
Okay.
I want to talk about, instead of trying to do beat by beat, let's just talk about two things. We'll talk about Finn's swords and
I
Finn's
knew he had a
arm.
sword. Sorry,
Yes.
sword and arm. Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to talk about swords and arms because Finn starts out with his like regular sword that's in like the logo for Adventure Time. Eventually he goes into a dungeon and he like loots a new sword, and it looks like it is a sword that has like roots as the hilt.
Okay.
And that is like
Plant
his basic
sword.
sword. Yeah, that's his like basic sword he uses for a while. But then we start to get into him having like sword arcs where he has different swords for different things. The
Okay.
first time he gets a like new sword, he's getting a family heirloom from his dad, his adopted dad, Joshua, who is a dog. Joshua
Dog
was
sword.
Mhm.
Finn's dad, Joshua, was a paranormal investigator, and
I love that.
and
So
he
there are
was like,
maybe ghosts in this universe too.
yeah, and he was a demonologist.
Okay.
He
And a
believes
dog.
he believes that there's ghosts in this world. It turns out that the ghosts that he was fighting was actually Finn and Jake in the future because they got stuck in this weird time loop thing, and so they were manipulating
Whoa.
things that happened in the past. And Joshua was like, "Well, would you look at that?" 'Cause,
His
like,
Must
own
be ghosts.
children.
yeah. So like Finn could see his dad like in the past, but his dad couldn't see him, and so he like wrote like "I love you" on the ground, and then their dad Joshua was like, "Oh, honey, looks like there's a ghost in this house. Also, it looks like he's sweet on me." Also, yeah, he talks in like transatlantic accent, which is really funny. I will say,
That's
I
good.
think So I think Finn and Jake's dad and mom are the sort of like stern but loving kind of parents, where they're they're like, this is the kinds of thing you got to learn to make it in life, boys. And then they're like, okay, but they were
Thanks.
well loved. Yeah.
Aw. I'm glad they have a
At-
transatlantic accent. I
Yeah,
think
those
that
are the
needs to make a
best.
comeback.
Yeah.
Once Finn and Jake see their own pasts, they see that Joshua was injected in his head with some sort of weird, like, imagine like a poison stinger from a scorpion. This like blue demon creature stings their dad in the head.
Oh.
Also,
In the past.
in the past, that sting eventually like inflates and explodes out of his head, and out of the explosion comes Jake the dog. That's right. Jake wasn't born the normal way dogs are, like his brother, like his other dog brother. He exploded out of his dad's head like Athena.
Like Athena.
That's crazy. I didn't know
Wow.
that.
So Jake thinks that he gained his. So Jake has their parents and their brother, who are also all dogs. None of them have the same stretchy powers that he has. So Jake's a
Right.
magic dog.
Yeah.
Jake said that he got this ability when he rolled around in a magic puddle, and then he got
As
the
dogs
ability
are
to
wont
stretch.
do.
As we find out, that's not true. Jake got this ability because he is the son of an alien from a stretchy race of aliens, and he was
But he
born
can't-
of that guy.
But he came out of a head.
Yeah, he came out of his dad's head, but his
So he has-
biological dad was the
Okay.
creature
have
that injected
Two
him.
biological
forgot
dads
that
then?
the
So
guy
kind
got
of Empreg a little bit.
Yeah,
it
I
is,
was gonna
it is
say.
Empreg for sure.
Cool.
That's right.
Eventually,
Cool.
eventually
Cool,
Jake's
Empreg.
eventually Jake's biological dad shows up, and he's like, "Oh, son, you need to come help save us." It turns out that his biological dad is, I guess he's kind of like Ego from the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know that whole thing
Yes.
No.
where he like plants his seed across the galaxy to
Oh,
like
gross.
raise strong children. So this
Okay.
alien guy empregs all people of a bunch of different worlds so that they have stretchy powers, and then when they grow up, he absorbs their stretchy powers to keep him young forever, because he's also a stretchy person.
Oh, so
So-
he's not even just trying to make a bunch of strong children. He's trying to make them so he can consume
So
them.
he can absorb them and live forever.
Like the rich guy who takes his son's blood.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly
Like,
like that guy. Yes.
Yeah.
Jake throws him into a black hole at some point.
Good.
Good.
And then he recognizes that his actual father was his father. You know, his
Yeah.
mother and father that raised him are his father and
The
mother.
real family.
Yes. So that's why Jake's a stretchy dog, is because he has alien DNA. What else do we learn from here? Oh, yes. Joshua, their dad, traps a demon and takes a bunch of the demon's blood, and he uses that to create the demon blood sword. And so he gives that to the two Finn and Jake as like a family heirloom. So for a while, Finn is using the demon blood sword,
That's
which was
so
made-
metal.
which is made, yeah. And then every once in a while, when they use a sword, a demon shows up, and he's like, "Joshua, give me my blood back." And they're like, "No, dude." And they have like an incantation that sends him back to the Nightosphere. But they're using the demon blood sword for a while, until eventually it breaks, because they kept getting hounded by this demon, and eventually he like catches up to them, and they like do all this stuff to trick him into getting exploded. But they lose their family heirloom, and that makes Finn very sad. It is upon this sadness and self-discovery that Finn finds his next new sword. He goes to like a bizarre market kind of place, and he's looking for a new sword, and there is one that there is this place that's like a clearly like haunted, like, you know, cursey kind of place.
Yeah.
but they're like, I will give you this grass sword, and it's totally cool and normal. And they're like, oh, that's a cursed sword.
It's totally cool and normal. No.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I get it. That's like a cursed sword. And Finn's like, okay, I'll deal with a curse. Whatever. I'll take a cursed sword. And so he gets this grass sword that's like permanently attached to his arm now. And it's like growing into his hand. But he can like summon it as like a grass blade. It's a blade of grass. Get it?
Cute.
Um,
That doesn't seem very effective, but cute.
he has this for a while. Finn eventually learns that he does have human parents.
Okay.
His dad is a space criminal. He bounces around from planet to planet doing space crimes.
And he's still alive?
Yes. And his mom is a helper lady. They don't call them doctors anymore or like nurses or anything like that. They just call them helpers. And so his mom was a helper that was trying to like keep a group of humans living. It turns out that there are some humans. They live on this one little island in the middle of the ocean, which is where Finn
Their
came
sanctuary. The human protection sanctuary.
But Finn eventually got separated from his parents and ended up like washing ashore. I don't entirely remember what happened there because it's his dad telling him about this. And his dad is like the most unreliable narrator because he's literally just lying to his son the whole time.
Yeah.
He's a bad dad. But
Josh
at one
was
point,
the only real dad, is what I'm getting at.
well,
with this.
that's
The
the
dad
other
that
thing that
stepped
they
up.
realize. It's like the dad that
Yeah.
raised you is really your dad. But again, Finn's like looking for this like companionship because he thinks he's the only human in the world. And there's been a bunch of like false starts of like, oh, maybe this other person's a human, and they turn out to be like a mutant or like a cyborg or something like that. And so Finn is attempting to like help his dad out of space jail because even though he is a bad guy, he still wants to like help him and stuff and like, you know, have him in his life
he's
or
too
whatever, even though
kind.
that's not going to work out. At a certain point, his arm gets just like ripped off as he's trying to like grab his dad and like pull him through this like space thing that's happening or whatever. And his arm, he like sends out a vine out of his arm because like vines can come out of his arm with the grass sword thing. And it just like rips his whole arm off, and that's how he loses his arm. Is he had this like cursed sword attached to it, and then his arm pops off, and now he's a lefty.
And he doesn't have a sword anymore.
He doesn't have a sword anymore. In the meantime, he also finds a different sword.
Dual wielding.
But what happens is the Lich at a certain point. Okay, I think I know how to enter this. So let's put the swords on the back burner for a while and
Okay.
Finn's arm on the back burner a while, and let's talk about the Lich again. Because Finn has defeated the Lich a couple times over. He's unable to do his big plan. I think the Lich wants to like recreate a mutagenic bomb situation at one point. The Lich is trying to do all this nefarious shit.
Good for Finn.
There is an ancient, not ancient. There's a different hero that is like Finn's role model. He like wants to be this guy. His name's Billy.
Okay.
Billy is like a giant, and he's been the hero in the land like before Finn kind of became active.
Okay.
And Billy comes to Finn at one point, and he's like, "Hey, we got to get all of the crystals from the princesses' crowns." Because they're magical, and we need that magic to stop the Lich. And he's like, okay, cool. So they go around and they like steal all of the princess's crown jewels. And they're like, why are we doing this? And he's like, check this out. And Billy holds out the Enchiridion. Because remember, Finn got the Enchiridion at one point. I think at a certain point, Finn gave the Enchiridion to a different character because he's like, it's time for you to learn how to be a hero now.
Aw, he's like, I've learned everything I can from this book.
Yeah.
But he
and
didn't.
now Billy has the Enchiridion. And he's like, this is actually a really important book. Check this out. And he like opens a secret compartment on the cover of the book, and there's like slots to fit all these crystals in. He's like, the Enchiridion is a powerful magical artifact. And then that's where we learn all the stuff about the multiverse. But they're basically like certain powerful magics can open portals into the time cube. And so Billy's like, I'm going to open a portal into the multiverse and push the Lich into it and like get rid of him.
Make him somebody else's problem.
We discover that that's a bad plan. We know that's a bad plan because Billy is not Billy. In fact, it is the Lich who has put Billy's skin on, like covered himself in Billy's skin to become Billy, and tricked Finn into collecting all these crystals so that he can open a portal into the time cube, because he knows that if he gets to the time cube, Prismo will grant him a wish. And
his wish is for everything to die.
The Lich wishes for all life to be extinguished everywhere.
Should be a rule against that.
There should be a rule against that.
The Lich goes through the portal and does this, but Finn and Jake both follow him. And so Finn and Jake are also in the time cube, and the Lich has already wished that all life is extinguished everywhere. And Finn and Jake are like, well, how come we're still here then? And they're like, oh, because you're in the time cube. As long as you're in the time cube, you're in like an isolated time area. But the minute you go out there, you'll be like, boop, no more. And so they're like, okay, well, we both get a chance to wish for something.
Yeah, we get a wish.
Yeah.
Undo that one.
And so Finn wishes that the Lich never existed.
Yeah. There we go.
And then he instantly gets teleported into Farm World, which is, again, where the mutagenic bomb never goes off.
Yeah.
In the alternate reality of this version, Simon used his ice powers to stop the mutagenic bomb from going off, but he died in the process. And so Marceline, who is also immortal, spends all of her time guarding the area where Simon was killed, which contains not only the crown, but the mutagenic bomb that's been like frozen in ice.
Okay.
Farm World Finn, who is the alternate reality version of Finn, who is kind of like him, but also kind of not.
And is also a farm animal.
No, he's just a farm boy. Also, he has his dog, Jake, but Jake is just a regular dog in this universe. He's not like a stretchy magic talking dog.
I like that.
And so Finn, when he wishes for the Lich to have never existed, this is the universe that he creates with that wish. The mutagenic bomb never went off. The Lich was never born. But then that's where he goes into the thing where...
before.
But now it becomes a new universe because, again, the universes all exist side by side.
Yeah.
And so Farm World Finn is doing a bunch of other stuff. He ends up taking the Ice King's crown. He turns into Ice King Finn. He unleashes a new Lich when the mutagenic bomb goes off.
Oh, no.
That he accidentally set off. And the Lich is created on his dog, Jake. So his Jake the dog turns into the Lich because he accidentally used ice powers from the Ice Crown to turn him into...
So this world just seems worse.
It is.
In every way.
And so Jake the dog is still in the time cube, and he can like see this, and he's like hanging out with Prismo, and Prismo really likes him. He's like, because Jake's like a chill dude, and they're just like hanging out.
He is just a chill guy.
And they're just like, you know, he's like, I can show you what's happening in your boy's new wish reality. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like seeing all this like horrible stuff happening, and the Lich is reborn and all this other stuff. And he's like, oh man, this really sucks. And that's when Prismo's like, dude, you have a wish, but I got to tell you, all the wishes are like monkey paw wishes. They all like, you know, turn against you in a certain way. But I really like you, man. So I want you to make a good wish, but keep in mind that any wish you make could like unmake and remake all realities. And like Jake just like throws up and he's like, whoa, gross, dude. Anyway. But he does the thing where he's like, I think you should wish for the and he's like, the Lich? He's like, yeah. Oh, and he's like, I wish that the Lich's wish is different. I wish to change the Lich's wish. And so he changes it so that instead of the Lich wishing for all things to be wiped out, that the Lich wishes for Finn and Jake to go home. And so then time like rewinds back to when the Lich is making his wish, and then he's just like, I wish for Finn and Jake to go home. He's like, wait, no, I didn't wish for that. And he's like, sorry, dude, you only get one wish. But then But then
Just-
Prismo's like, see, monkey paw. And then Finn and Jake get to go home because that's what the Lich wish for, technically.
I like that.
Um,
That's a
and
good
so-
way of getting around things.
And so after this happens, the Lich is just in the time cube, but he gets like super depressed because
Life
he has nothing to kill. So he's just like there and like super sad. And so that's when we have this like party with all the like cosmic elementals and stuff. And they're like, whoa, look, it's the Lich. Look, he's such a little bitch now. And they're like taking pictures with him and stuff like that. And then that's when they figure out that Prismo is like the dream of this guy. And the Lich learns that. And he's like, I'm going to kill Prismo by waking this guy up. And then that's when they go on this whole journey of Jake has to like remake Prismo from being dead by doing all this other stuff.
So that works. The
and-
Lich's plan works.
For a little while, but then again, that's where all this like multiverse, like this actually didn't happen because eventually they fixed it, and because time's a flat circle, it like fixes it throughout all time.
Yeah.
So Prismo does come back to life eventually. But throughout the process of doing that, there becomes an alternate version of Finn. And then the alternate version of Finn becomes a sword that contains like a Finn soul. And so for a while, Finn is using a sword that he calls the Finn sword that is like, it's got like a big blue jewel on the hilt of it. And when he looks into it, he can see like an image of himself.
That seems
and then
like a really bad fate for alternate. Finn.
as we learn as things go on, like it's clear that the Finn sword isn't just like Finn, it is like his own thing that's like kind of like Finn. What
Oh.
ends up happening is the Finn sword gets stolen and Finn ends up fighting it with his grass sword. He uses the grass sword to like fight against it, and then on accident he pierces through the Finn sword with his grass sword. And he thinks that he like kills his Finn sword, and he gets really sad about it.
He
But
kinda
we
killed
learned that
himself in that way.
we learned that the Finn sword and the grass sword actually merged at that point and created a new entity. And eventually that entity gains shape and it looks just like Finn, except it's made of grass. And they
Grass
decide
Finn.
they decide to call him Fern.
That's really good.
So there is a grass version of Finn that's running around that's made by the combination of the Finn sword and the grass sword put
Okay.
together. And then
Yeah, I like
eventually,
that.
as all that happens, Finn loses his arm again.
Does
because-
does Fern lose his arm?
No. Well, Fern like dies.
Oh,
Sorry.
So he kind of loses. his
Fern
arm.
also has inside of him the curse of the original grass
Grass
curse sword.
Yeah.
And so at one point Finn destroys the curse inside of him, but then there's nothing that keeps him together. And so Fern is like dying. And this is after they've gone through this whole thing, because like Finn's teaching him how to be a hero, because at first they're against each other, but then like, dude, we're basically the same guy. You just want to do the things I want to do. And he's like, I want to be Finn. And then that is like bad because he keeps trying to be Finn instead of
Yeah,
being Fern.
The original.
Because
Finn,
he feels like he's just a shadow copy of Finn. And so they fight for a while. Eventually he turns into like the Green Knight from Arthurian legend because he's made of grass.
Cool.
And he's like trying to like best Finn in all these like stuff. Eventually he turns back to the side of good. And that's when Finn like goes into his being and sees this like curse. It's like a purple squid that's like controlling him, and he like destroys the squid, and he's like, I'm the only thing that keeps Fern together. And Fern's like, no, I don't want you inside me anymore. And so like Fern is like falling apart at a certain point, and then he just turns into Fern's like, oh, Finn, we had some good times together. I want you to plant me underneath the treehouse where we used to live. And he's like,
Aw.
oh, okay, dude, I'll do that. This is towards the very ends of the series, and their treehouse is like entirely destroyed by Golb, who was summoned into the world to
The evil
destroy
one, right?
everything. The evil
Yeah.
Golb. So their treehouse gets destroyed, and Finn ends up planting Fern's seed where the treehouse used to be, and then a new tree sprouts.
It grows. Yeah.
And then eventually, over a long time, it turns into a huge tree, just like their treehouse. And after all of the like fighting they do with the Lich and stuff, they end up beating the Lich again. The problem with the Lich was that the farm world version of the Lich, who was morphed out of Jake's, the regular dog's body,
Yep.
Yeah.
that version of Finn opened up a portal using the Enchiridion, their world's Enchiridion,
Yeah, yeah,
because Finn's world's Enchiridion got destroyed in his battle with the Lich. So now they have a new Enchiridion, and
Farm world and Caridian.
Finn cuts off the Lich's arm, but his arm falls into this like multi-dimensional portal that was made by the Enchiridion and spreads to all worlds. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess that happened. So the Lich kind of exists everywhere a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's that hand that infects New Death with the desire to destroy reincarnation.
Wow. Yeah,
Right?
that all was, I
That
think,
tracks.
exactly what I was expecting was
tracks.
going to happen.
Yeah.
All makes sense.
Finn
Yes.
eventually gets a robot arm to replace his missing
Cool.
arm. No more
Radical.
cursed grass sword arms. Because that's what he had for a while. Is his arm was just actually the grass sword that like sprouted into a full arm.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the whole series.
Does he
The
end
only
with
other thing.
a specific sword?
So the way that it like ends is it's like far in the future again, and Finn and Jake are long gone, but now there's these two new creatures. Oh, I should have pointed out Finn and Lady Rainicorn. They were dating, but eventually they got married, and eventually
Jake
they
and
had
Lady Rainicorn.
Jake and Lady Rainicorn were dating. Eventually they got married, and then eventually they had puppies.
Right. The
and
weird rainbow puppies.
the
from
weird
earlier.
rainbow puppies with that they're all like, so Lady Rainicorn is also kind of magical on top of being a Rainicorn.
And she's a
Rainicorns have like
unicorn.
prismatic light powers.
Okay. Yeah. That makes
Specifically,
sense.
I think Lady Rainicorn's power is that she can change the color of anything with her magical
I mean,
unicorn
she is a
horn.
rainbow.
That's a fun power. I don't know if it's a particularly useful power, but that's a fun party
fun.
power.
and Jake also has his fun like stretchy powers, and so they have puppies, and all of their puppies have different powers as well, sort of a Jack from the Incredibles
Yeah.
situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so the series ends by going into the far future, and one of Jake's and Lady Rainicorn's descendants, one of the unicorn puppies,
Her name is Beth.
her name is Beth.
Finds the ice helmet.
No, she's just hanging out with another little guy who's like a little cat guy. But he is clearly the reincarnation of the heroic soul.
His name is Shermie.
His name's Shermie.
Shermie.
And Shermie and Beth are like chasing down this this ancient fable or whatever, and so they go to the King of Ooo. And when they get to the King of Ooo, it turns out to be BMO, because BMO, who's their little video game guy, is also immortal because he's just a little video game guy. And so he tells them a story about the old days. And then that's when it like flashes back to like the last canonical stuff that's like where Gold tried to take over the world. So with Simon, and you remember Simon had his girlfriend Betty?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what made him give up on life.
Yeah.
Right.
She went
well,
missing.
what happens is at one point we realize that Simon is trying to like break out of his Ice King curse, and a time portal opens up, and he's like, I wish I could be with Betty again. And the portal opens up so that Betty comes to the Land of Ooo from her version, the distant future. And that's where she went, is she got sucked through a time portal that brought her to way later.
So she was fine.
She was fine. But now she's like, oh, Simon is going crazy. I want to like cure his madness. So she's on a quest to like cure his madness, but she doesn't know how to do it. But there's all these like magic people around. So she's like, I could learn how to do magic. Specifically, I could learn how to do magic from Magic Man, who is a huge dink. But He's also a
Yeah.
powerful Martian magician.
He loves
Yes.
playing
So
pranks.
She takes his magic hat that gives him magic powers,
Of course.
and Magic Man turns into Normal Man, who is not magic anymore. And he's starting to repent for his previous pranking sins. He eventually becomes King Man, who is the king of Mars, because Globgrod God is kind of the king of Mars, but actually the king of Mars is Abraham Lincoln, who lives on Mars.
I was about to say, when the fuck does Abe Lincoln come back?
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln was the king of Mars, but he accidentally kills Jake by using a magical staff. And Finn's like, "You messed up, King of Mars. You killed my best friend." And he's like, "I know. I'll set this right." And so he goes to meet with
He
Death.
writes the Emancipation Proclamation, and that's how he sets it right.
And like him and Death clearly have like a relationship, like a history. And he's like,
Ooh.
King of Mars. And he's like, "Death, you need to give me this one back." And he's like, "You know I can't do that." So the King of Mars gives up his immortality, Abraham Lincoln, so that he can save Jake's life because he accidentally killed him. And then he turns into a big marble statue on Mars that is the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
Is Abe Lincoln, was he president in
Yes.
this?
Yes,
So- okay.
also. And then
So slavery, so the
So
mass
then
chattel
Glob-
slavery we had in America was a thing? Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yep. But he fixed it. And Globgrod God was like next in line. He became king for a while. Finn's dad, while flying on a spaceship, accidentally exploded him. So he's not the king anymore. And now instead of being a guy, he's just the four heads, and they're just like floating in orbit around the Earth. But he wants to do that, it seems like. So
Okay, so not
he
that
lets it
bad
be.
overall.
So normal man is trying to like make reparations with his brothers by like taking them back out of space, and they're like, "Normal man, you've changed. You are worthy of being king of Mars now." And they send him back to Mars, and he becomes King Man, who's the king of Mars.
I need
So-
to pull back one more time here.
Are you going to ask how
Okay.
did Abraham Lincoln become the king of Mars? Because that is my
No,
question.
I'm
He
pulling
already
back
was
for-
king of Mars.
I'm pulling back. Right, that's established. You weren't.
He seems to be
that's
immortal, or he
Yeah,
was immortal
I
But
just
he
before he
becomes
gave up
you
his
resident?
immortality.
As well?
You said that at the
And-
end. You said, and that about 5 minutes ago. You said, and that's about the end. And then this all happened. So
Well, this happened before, so the only reason I have to bring that up is because Betty,
yeah,
who's trying to save the Ice King, learns how to do magic from Magic Man, who becomes Normal Man, who becomes King Man.
becomes king man.
And it is her obsession of trying to cure Simon that accidentally opens this portal where Glob comes out.
Golb.
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 The bad one.
And Golb
Bad one.
wants to like end all things.
'Cause he's the
Which is why
Lich's
the
boss.
Lich loved him. Yeah.
Which is why the Lich loves him. Golb eats the Ice King and Finn and Betty. Betty has been driven mad because she's wearing Magic Man's magic hat, which also makes you like crazy and magic.
And want to pull pranks.
Yeah. The
Seems
Ice
like
King
magic is really
so many-
closely related to craziness.
weird.
There's lots of bad hats out there.
The ice
Badass.
King is also pulled in, who's being driven crazy by his headwear, and then Finn is there as well, and they're being quote digested by Golb, who is like unmaking them. Basically, that's how he like
Whoa.
digests people, and so they're all reverting to their previous states. And so the Ice King reverts back to being Simon, and
Okay.
Betty reverts back to being regular Betty.
That seems good.
Mhm.
It is good, but they're inside of a demon's stomach, and it's like
Yeah, it's-
closing in on them.
Now we
And
have vor
it's-
content.
It seems like they're all gonna die, and then the people outside are able to like free them. So Finn is able to get out, and Simon is gonna get out, and Betty's like, "But if we get out, Golb is still gonna be out there and like messing with us," and he's like, "Well, there's nothing we can really do about it," and she's like, when we got reverted to our like regular states, like everything's getting reversed. which means the crown is also reverted to the state that it was in when it was supposed to grant wishes. So if I wear the
Ooh.
crown right now, I could have a wish granted. And they're like, yeah, but that's crazy. And she's like, no, Simon, you got to get out of here. I wanted to save you. And so I'm going to save you and I'm going to sacrifice myself. So Betty stays inside of Golb and she has the crown that can grant wishes. And she wishes that she destroys Golb, and the crown is like, like it's like not strong enough to do that. And he's like, I wish that all of this never happened. It's like, nope, can't do that. And then it's like, and like all the walls are closing in on her, and she's like, okay, I wish that I had the power to keep Simon safe. And it's like, okay, I can do that. And she merges her form with Golb. And she becomes
make
Golb
Golbetty.
Betty.
Yes. Go
And so-
Betty.
Betty is able to like steer this ancient like death entity like back into the space between dimensions. And she keeps everybody safe that way. And he like spits out the crown. And then as he does, Gunther takes the crown and puts it on his head and immediately transforms into like an ice king that's like really weird. And then he just like runs away. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess the crown's gone. It turns out Gunther wanted to turn into the Ice King, and then he married Turtle Princess, who is a librarian.
Aw,
Um,
cute. That seems
so that happened.
fine.
Yeah, they were like worried about it because they all knew that he was like a cosmic being or whatever, but it turned
Yeah.
out I guess he just wanted to date Turtle Princess.
Okay. That's very
was-
Ice King coded of him.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's where it kind of ends. But BMO is telling Beth and Shermie, these like two new characters, this whole story. And they're like, oh, that's kind of crazy. We just came here because we heard that there was a legend of like an ancient sword. And he's like, oh, yeah, you just have to go to this one tree. They go to where Finn and Jake planted fern. And there's a
Right.
huge tree there. And they climb to the top. And at the top of the tree is the Finn sword that's been implanted into the tree. Because you remember, fern was a combination of the Finn sword
Yes.
and the grass sword.
Yeah.
And so Shermie takes out the new Finn sword. And it's clear that he is the new incarnation of the courageous hero. And Beth is like his new dog sidekick. And it all is going to happen all over again because it's adventure
Wow.
time.
Wow. It's never ending.
Yeah.
Now the Finn sword is cursed. It would
Not anymore. I
it's-
think it's been purified with because it was broken before, but now it's fixed.
Okay.
Even though-
the door might be open to it being cursed because it's
Well, it might be,
it's
yeah,
a part
again,
of the
that's-
You
grass.
can always get cursed
I
again.
think what's really funny about this whole world is it's like, what if Dungeons and Dragons stuff was real? And like at a certain point, Finn becomes immune to electricity because he drinks like magic water. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll just do that. And then like from that point on, it doesn't come up a lot, but every once in a while, he's like fighting a huge electric eel or whatever, and like nothing happens. It's like, yeah, because he's immune to electricity.
I love
Like that just
when shows
happened in
do
one
that.
episode where he just like drank some magic spring water.
I
Ooh,
love
that's
when
really good.
like one of my favorite sitcoms is Last Man on Earth with Kristen Schaal and Will Forte, and at the very first episode it's referenced that she never ends a sentence with a preposition, and then the rest of the show I'm sitting there making sure that that's true. So it's like
Yeah.
if you're watching and it's like, is Finn gonna get electrocuted? Because it shouldn't
Yes,
happen. Right. Yeah.
It should never happen. No, the answer is no.
I love it when shows do that.
I'm gonna interject
Yeah.
because before we wrap up, let me tell you about the spin-off of Adventure Time, which is currently coming out, and how
Yes.
it relates.
Yes.
So if you would like to watch Fiona and Cake, you've now heard all the background info you need from Adventure Time. But let me tell you why Fiona and Cake relates to Adventure Time.
Yes.
You may be able to guess, you two. Fiona and Cake is like Finn and Jake.
I didn't
Uh,
guess that.
So Fiona and Cake are gender bend versions of Finn and Jake. Fiona looks like Finn, except she's a girl, and Cake is also a girl, and she's a cat as well instead of a dog.
Yeah, because dogs are
She
boys
also-
and cats are girls.
Yeah.
She,
bending.
she
Yes.
also has stretchy
But
powers.
so yeah, same. I mean, everything else is 1-to-1. So the way we're introduced to Fiona and Cake in Adventure Time, because Fiona and Cake in Adventure Time are a fan fiction that Ice King wrote about Finn and Jake.
Finn and Jake.
I love that.
He wrote a fan fiction about Finn and Jake, but gender bent them, including himself. There's the Ice Queen. So like everything in Fiona
Wow.
and Cake is just gender bended. There's Prince Gumball,
Yeah.
and Marshall Lee, the Vampire King. So like everything is just flip flopped.
That's
so
so good.
There's an episode of Adventure Time called Fiona and Cake, which is just like they do an episode of Adventure Time, but it's Fiona and Cake instead of Finn and Jake.
And then it's clear at the end of the episode that Ice King like made it.
Yeah,
up.
then
Okay.
the end of the episode is like it's like Ice King reading his fan fiction to like I think
It's
trapped Finn
captive
and Jake.
princesses. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you guys like it?
That's incredible.
So, come to find out, so Fiona and Cake, the spin-off, is obviously just like a spin-off gender bend version of Adventure Time. However, it's not exactly that, because come to find out, Fiona and Cake is their own separate actual dimension, like universe. It's a
Okay.
multiverse.
Does it have a
thing.
fun name? Like
It's just the- I don't think
Farmlanded
so.
or whatever.
It's just
Farmworld?
It's just the Fiona and Cake world. But Fiona and Cake world is created by Prismo. Prismo created this world on his own because he wanted to, because he likes Finn and
Finn
Jake.
and Jake.
But he did it unauthorized, because remember, there's like some bureaucracy going on.
He has
Right,
a
there's
boss.
the rules
He has
about
a
the
boss.
wishes.
And there's
So
rules.
this was
yeah.
an unauthorized world that he made for fun, that he like watches on his multi-dimensional cable for fun because he likes it. And he, to hide the world of Fiona and Cake so no one would find it, he put it in the mind of Ice King.
He
Mhm.
I was
beamed it
gonna
into
say,
his
which
head.
He
when
one
beamed
was
is
it into
sleeping.
his head. So that's why Ice King is writing this fan fiction, because he literally has this world in his head that actually exists.
That's
So that's
That's
at
why he's
one
going
point
Real
crazy.
someone
Joseph
asked,
Smith of him.
well, at one
Yes.
point someone asked, they're like, "Oh, Ice King, where do you get your ideas to write Fiona and Cake?" He's like, "I get my ideas where I get all my ideas. When I'm sleeping, it's beamed into my head."
It literally is. And so Fiona and Cake's world just literally exists. However, Fiona and Cake, the show, we learned that the Fiona and Cake world actually has become just like a regular, like our world situation, because it became that way when Ice King reverted to Simon.
Because
It
he was
also
being
lost-
digested by gold,
Yes.
remember?
So then Fiona and Cake's world lost all of its magic and became like a regular our world.
Because Ice King became Simon again.
A human guy. Yeah.
okay.
Right.
and,
So-
and because
so
their
it
world
got
exists
reverted,
in
okay.
his mind.
Yes. So
It's normal,
Fiona and Cake's Fiona and Cake's world still exists, and this is how Fiona and Cake, the show, starts, is that it's just a regular world. And
Yeah.
Fiona, though, is like super cynical and depressed because presumably, like, you know,
She's
her
suppressed.
whole character surrounds that she's like a hero of this crazy fantastic world, but that's not
Oh,
what
yeah.
actually is happening in her world.
Yeah.
And so obviously that changes because the setup then of Fiona and Cake is that Simon is also in the Land of Ooo, also depressed as hell because he's just kind of a regular guy now
He's a
and
regular
tormented
human.
by everything that happened for him, and that his love Betty is now Goal Betty.
Merged with a interdimensional.
And
So
he can't
he-
even make fun new fan
he-
fictions because the
Right.
the world is
Yeah.
all normal now.
Yeah, exactly. He, though, starts Fiona and Cake by attempting to perform a ritual to revive Betty. But instead of doing that, um, a portal appears on the back of his head, which pulls Fiona and Cake into the Land of Ooo.
Okay.
And then obviously Fiona learns that, well, Cake was just a regular cat then in her world, and so Cake becomes more like Jake's equivalent when she comes to Ooo. So now the two of them learn what their like true forms are, and so along with Simon, they are trying to find a multiverse version of the Ice King's crown that they can use to bring magic back to Fiona and Cake's world.
Use it with the wish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the remember the Ice King's crown in the Land of Ooo was taken by Gunther and like absorbed into his body so that he could become like a guy who marries a turtle princess.
I don't like taking magic and an item that has over the course of thousands of years revealed itself to be sometimes evil. I don't like taking that into a normal world.
It has to do with the intention of the wielder. It's
I was
not
gonna say,
evil.
I don't care. That's
Guns
exactly
aren't
the one
evil,
ring.
Eric.
chaotic
It's
neutral.
who you shoot.
I'm
That's
not going to
the one
spoil
ring,
it, but
though. It's like, oh, it only matters who grabs it.
No,
it, like,
that's totally. I'm not going to get in this argument with you, but the one ring does not serve whoever wears it. It only serves Sauron.
obviously.
Obviously.
Well, what I want to say is I won't spoil Fiona and Cake because it's a bit newer. Yeah, it doesn't go as planned. Stuff doesn't go
Yeah.
as planned.
Of
with,
course.
with the magic of Ooh.
the
They
only
don't know all the lessons we've learned. They haven't
I was
listened to
gonna
this
say,
podcast, so
the
Fiona
only
and Cake
the only
don't
other
know.
big character you need to know is the Huntress Wizard.
Oh.
Finn kind of strikes out with most of the princesses over the course of him trying to like date princesses. Eventually he kind of falls in with this Huntress Wizard, who is, as the name implies, sort of a nature wizard of the hunt. And she is
It's like an Artemis.
yeah. She is she shows up towards the end of the series. She's basically like at first she's trying to contact the spirit of the forest, and then it's clear that the two of them like dated, and the spirit of the forest is like, I don't know, you're not, attraction comes and goes, and she's like, well, I guess maybe I kind of like Finn, and then Finn likes her, and then they kiss a couple times.
By the way, that's
Whoa.
reverted in Fiona and Cake. Huntress Wizard and the Spirit Warrior did not date.
The spirit of the forest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, but also like her and Finn are like basically together. They do the thing where they're like, we can't really be together. We're too
too
big
busy.
people. Like we're both like.
Our
We're
schedules
too
don't line
important.
up.
Yeah, our schedules don't
But
line up.
also it definitely seems like they're together. But she also acts as like a guide for Finn a lot of the times because she's very knowledgeable because she's a wizard. But also, she will show up.
She plays a big role in season 2 of Fiona and Cake, which is currently coming out.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
not in season 1. But like Prismo is obviously in season 1 of Fiona and Cake because he made the unauthorized universe. And like the big bad of season 1 of Fiona and Cake is this guy named Scarab who presumably works at the same workplace as Prismo, and he's like an auditor, and he finds out Prismo made this unauthorized world, and so he's trying to destroy Fiona and Cake's world in season 1.
Oh. I
So
like
that's what
this.
we
I like
know?
this bureaucratic evil.
I know, it's
Yeah.
very silly.
I do
bureaucratic
have-
evil.
I do have one question.
Yes.
The real Ice King, you said, was reincarnated as
Mhm.
Ice Queen and frozen.
Seems
Did
like Abador
he-
Evergreen or something like that.
does she ever come back?
No,
Either
I
of
mean,
them?
he's reincarnated as the Ice Queen lady.
Yeah, and then
At a
she's
certain
just
point,
down there.
At a certain point she reveals herself as the ice elemental, and she tries to get the other like elementals. She wants to like create a new elemental world. She briefly succeeds, but the Finn is there to. So there's like a weird thing where like Finn like goes away and like has to do like an Odyssey thing. I can't remember what exactly he was fighting. I think it was the thing with his dad where he was like away from Ooo, and he left Fern in charge. He's like, you're gonna be the hero of Ooo now. I gotta go figure out this stuff with my dad. The Ice Queen lady does this spell that turns all of Ooze into these like elemental quadrants. And so the Candy Kingdom was already pretty candy, but then instead of being like candy type people, now everyone's candy. So even the characters that weren't candy related become candy. And then there's like the flame quadrant where everyone has turned into flame people. And then the slime quadrant, and like all of the princesses were morphed by this thing. So Princess Bubblegum becomes like this huge, like monolithic pile of bubble gum, and like when everyone succumbs to their elemental nature, they all turn into, every element kind of has like an emotion associated with it. So like the candy people all become very sweet, and all they do is just like sing and like bump into stuff and like love each other and hug each other and stuff.
Yeah.
And like all the fire people are doing is like fighting each other and like beating each other up. All of the ice people are just all like melancholic and just like super chill.
I
Just, like,
hate
I don't even care.
change.
Yeah, and then all of the slime people want to be like, they're all become like conformists, and then like Slime Princess begins to like assimilate people into her slime, and so she becomes like a huge slime that is just like absorbing other people into her.
Okay. So we have kind of two hive mind situations in that.
Yeah,
The slime and the candy.
and Marceline becomes Marshmalline. She's like a marshmallow vampire.
That's good.
And like stuff like that. So that was like a whole mini arc that happened, was the elemental stuff.
Okay.
But then at the end of it, they end up beating the elemental Ice Queen lady. And what they find out is that there is a sort of anti-elemental element, the like sort of balancing force of like before energy becomes elemental, it can become this like sort of neutral void energy. And it turns out that neutral energy is lumpy energy. So lumpy space princess becomes integral to changing everyone back from their like pure elemental forms, because lumps are the opposite of elemental.
So everyone needs to have a little bit of lumps.
Yeah. So she unleashed her like
Sure.
Also, she's like terrible. She's like, oh my god, you guys, I can't believe you're doing this. And it turns out that her acting like that is lump energy, so she has to like fully act as much like that as she can to like set everyone back to normal.
Of course.
So she eventually resets everybody back to the normal Ooo. There was a couple like mini series where like, you know, it had a lot more like continuous plot structure. The elemental one was one of them. The vampire one was another one, where all the vampires that Marceline like vanquished come back, and she has to like refight them again and reclaim her title of the vampire queen.
So then she becomes double vampire?
No, she like loses the powers at first, but then she still has demon powers, so she's actually still pretty able to deal with it. But yeah, that's most of it, man. Like,
That's
you
Adventure
can
Time.
definitely watch Fionna and Cake.
Now you can watch Fionna and Cake.
I can't imagine that if I had watched the original Adventure Time, I would have actually processed like even a 10% of what you just talked
You
about.
really
There's a lot of lore videos on it.
I was gonna say they do a lot where it's like it's a flashback, or it's like an alternate view of the same event, and you have to really like piece it all together. So I didn't even like want to try and follow the plot of this show. I figured we just kind of follow the sequence of events that as they have been revealed.
Yeah, that's what we did with Saw too, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy.
Is there anything else you want to know about Adventure Time? It's pretty mathematical, right?
Everybody
used to
shout
say
their
stuff like that.
word they came up with.
Spectacle.
Radical.
Spectacle.
Gnarly.
What did
I don't
CJ
remember
come
mine.
up with?
Oh,
again?
Spectacle.
Spectacle.
Yeah, because you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause- no, I'm spectacle.
Oh, no,
I
you
already-
spectacle.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm me spectacle.
You
Inconceivable.
That's just CJ. You're better than that. You don't have to steal
No.
ideas.
No, I'm not. But that
Oh, he's
is that is the world of the Land of Ooo.
I am
and
like
the Adventure Time.
mentally exhausted from that.
That-
Yeah, there's a lot to get through.
Really
It's way
had a
more
lot
than you
more than
think
I
there would
thought.
be.
Yeah.
It's way dense.
It's dead.
That's a lot.
Let's pray we never have to do Steven Universe. That's
Well,
all I
and
have
I
to
was-
say.
I
That's-
actually
okay,
think
so
Steven
this is-
Universe is less dense.
I think
That's
it is.
what- I have seen Steven Universe, and I feel like I get it. But now I'm wondering if I had watched the Adventure Time, I don't think I would have gotten any of
Well,
this. So
I-
maybe there's a
And
lot more
hey,
in Steven
they
They
Universe.
were
I don't know.
Rebecca
contemporaries,
Shook-
right?
Rebecca Sugar, who created Steven Universe, she worked on Adventure Time. That's
They
what I
were
mean
contemporary shows, though,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
they were on at
Steven
the same
Universe-
Well,
Yeah,
time.
but
yeah,
Adventure
later.
Time came first.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
she worked on Adventure Time first. That's what I mean by there was like Adventure Time is a Spider-Verse effect of
Yeah.
of animation that like it inspired / domino effect created lots of other stuff.
hmm And it's just a kind of change in
It's
how.
a capstone.
Well, yeah, it's like how we view cartoons, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I always remember my parents being like, I don't get all these cartoons now. They all have like stories
have,
and
like,
plots that
story.
you gotta follow,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, doesn't that make it better? And they always
Yeah,
seem
yeah.
to be like, no, they should just be like episodic.
They
Like,
should be like Tom
sh-
and Jerry chasing each other.
Yeah.
every
yeah,
day.
and
Wile E.
and I was
Coyote
like, I
getting
don't
hit
know,
on the
I
head.
really like it. And this is also around the same time that I started to see like anime and like in the late night anime block of Cartoon Network, and I'm like, oh, cartoons can be more than just cats
Once
and mice
again,
chasing
these
each
aren't
other
your parents'
for no
Once again,
reason.
the Japanese really setting the pace for
Yeah,
making
Well,
things
and
a
all
little
of-
better.
All of the modern showrunners of current cartoons are extremely inspired by anime. So
mhm.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, there's lots
Yeah.
of references to like anime stuff in all of these things too,
Yeah.
as well. So, well,
Wow.
there you go. There
I've
you
learned
have it.
so much.
We've done it.
We've done it, and you've done it as well. That's right. You, the listener, have made it to the end of another episode of The Lore You Know. Thank you so much
Congratulations.
for listening to it. I hope you take this heroic knowledge and use it for good, never for evil.
do not end all life. Please.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Be careful what you
Um,
wish for.
That's the
Well-
lesson. If we end on a lesson.
I mean, it's true. And what I wish for is to thank Galestorm Kitsune for doing the artwork for the channel, and for Apagio for doing the intro and outro songs. That's it, guys. Anything else you want to say?
I've been Liz.
She's out. dude.
Gotta go.
You have to go in reverse order.
Well, okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
then it was me. I've been Sammy.
I've been Eric.
And I've been CJ. And go out, find a magical dog, make him your partner, teach him to speak, and go on adventures. Stop sitting around resting on your
End
laurels.
the world. Get in reincarnation a couple times. Explore
Yeah.
multiverse.
Yeah, what's the worst
Yeah.
that you can happen? You can die, you'll just show up as something else again. Go have some fun. Come on.
Turn into a plant guy. It'll be fun.
Mathematical.